Sorry, can't make it, Deepo.
Sports Radio 560 WQAM Miami Fort Lauderdale presents the Neil Rogers Show. To talk to Neil, call 567-0560 toll free for Dade and Broward, or pound 560 on your cell phone. The opinions of Neil, his guests, callers, or anyone else on the show do not necessarily reflect those of WQAM, Beasley Reed Acquisitions, or the Beasley Broadcast Group. Now, Neil Rogers on Sports Radio 560 QAM.
It's Friday, you bastard.
Rowe to take another face-off. In the Pittsburgh zone. Wins it. Bears it. Shot off the goalpost. Right off the draw. A face-off win by Perot. Harrison came that close. Off to Kavarov. Shot. It's on. Dirk Harrison. And the Leafs have tied the series.
Ladies and gentlemen, I could offer only one tip for the future. Act strange, and people will leave you alone. The rest of my advice has no basis more reliable than my own meandering experience. Put a slinky around your neck and try to walk downstairs backwards head first. Sit naked in a large bowl of Rice Krispies and sing Feelings while the kernels go snip, crackle, and pop. Go up to a ticket booth and try to stick your head through the hole where they say how much. Lick a stranger. Tell them you're from Bosnia and your country. It's a sign of respect. Take lots of pills. One of them might work. Occasionally ask a stranger if they've heard anything from Lewis. Be annoying. During an IRS audit, staple the guy's hand to his desk. Moon a funeral. Play go fetch with a seeing-eyed dog while he's working. Run naked through a mall yelling, "Killer bees! Killer bees!" Say the word titty without smiling. Try to figure out who said Pauly Shore should star in movies. Don't be surprised if it's the same guy who said John Gacy should work with kids. Ask an old lady if you can carry her groceries, then try to make a run for it. Disappear for great lengths of time. Try to touch your forehead with your tongue. It may not work, but many women will appreciate the effort. At a high school reunion, tell your old English teacher that your dog's still eating your homework. Ask Mark McGuire if he'll take $1 million for one of his balls. Try to find the secret to Carrot Top's success. Understand your conception was an accident, that your parents got wasted and wanted a few more laughs before they passed out. Try not to lose your finger in your nose. Pick up Bob Costas and toss him on the lawn next door. Go on a car trip with Bob Costas and force him to stay in his car seat. Try to dribble Bob Costas. Ask all your friends and family for forgiveness. Knowing you've done some crap that's really pissed them off. Wish no ill will to anyone, unless you don't like them. Then screw them, they're on their own. Realize anyone who says they're completely happy are completely full of crap. Ask a Hell's Angel if he's a woman, or has he always walked like that? Understand that there are bad people in the world, and you may just be one of them. Sniff an old lady. Imagine Gomer Pyle in a gay bar trying to get lucky. Do this without laughing. Find what's left of your innocence. Understand it, embrace it, protect it, and every so often, take it out for a nice nosh. Care enough not to care. Hum while you eat. Act strange, and people will leave you alone.
All right. Upright is right. 10:04, 560 WQAM. Happy Friday to you. Oh, God. No wonder they leave me alone, huh? So speaking of that, the Dunkin' Donuts people were here this morning who are terrified of me, so says George, but that was good, whatever that thing was they brought in, huh? Sausage and bacon and ham and cheese and whatever that was. Although I do feel like any second. No, that was good. So don't be panicky, guys from Dunkin' Donuts. I thought those were the Culligan people again. Huh? The one guy looked a little like Chris from Culligan. See, I already mentioned Culligan 3 times, and he hasn't even started yet, just to get Todd Dreck psychotic. Saw him stuck his head in the door this morning. Did he say anything about...
No.
Did he come anywhere near me?
No.
Just like the guy who's all bent out of shape about his facts? I guarantee you, I bet you dimes to a Dunkin' Donuts that somebody we know got to that appearance last night, somehow found his way there and made his $500.
Loan me $50.
So we can lose it on the Preakness. By the way, we're going to be talking to Dave Johnson in the 11 o'clock hour?
Yes.
Good. Dave Johnson, the world's premier race caller, who's been calling the Kentucky Derby for 185 years. He'll be calling in. And we'll have a little bit of a chat, and I'll give him my pick, even though I have paid no attention to any of it. I really don't care. But it's always good talking to Dave. He's got a good sense of humor. Have to work over there with all those old farts on ABC. So here's the facts, okay? Can we straighten one thing out right up front without wasting too much more time on this? Because one of the things that people really get very upset about, it's human nature, I guess, is when you burst the bubble of their preconceived notions, they become very psychotic about that. Now, why anybody would become psychotic about something as ridiculous as a date, I have no idea. But here's a great fact, by the way, that should try to simplify it for some of you bozos out there. It said, I was listening to your show today. I was very amused by all the people who can't figure out how to count. The people who insist that January 1st, 2000 is the start of the new millennium must also have 9 fingers. If these people start counting with 0 on their first finger, then when they get to their last finger, there will be 9. So to all the people out there who insist on using 0 as the starting point when counting, I pose this question. Do you have 9 or 10 fingers? This is not brain surgery, folks. Absolutely correct, sir. Well said. Let me try to lay this out for you, okay? And the guy that called yesterday almost had me hooked there for a second because it's so simple that when you start doing a verbal tap dance with it, you can get people confused. Let me try to make it very, very simple. Okay, the first century A.D. was the years 1 through 100. Okay, that was the first century. The second century were the years 101 to 200. The third century was 201 to 300. Then we get up to the first millennium. Was the years 1 to 1,000. The second millennium was the years 1,001 to 2,000. The next millennium will be 2001 to 3,000. Let's hear it for Neil for laying it right out there for you simply. George is the one. See, I never would have even thought about this because if that's the most important thing I had to worry about, I would blow my brains out. I mean, I would know that I'm got too much time on my hands.
The only reason it occurred to me is all the ad campaigns and
because they're making such a big hype job about this. It's the new, and of course, you don't be knocking a Backstreet Boys new album called Millennium that comes out next week.
That's just a coincidence.
That's right. It's just a nice name. It's got a ring to it. But, I mean, what is wrong with people? And there were people calling yesterday actually getting very hostile. And this is like the religion thing. You know, people will argue and they just insist. They're adamant. This is not something that's debatable. You can debate the religious bullcrap. Oh, well, I believe. Great. Believe whatever you want. But this is not debatable. You know, it's like saying, well, does 2 really come after 1, or is it like 3.5 or whatever? There's nothing to debate here. It's very simple. The next millennium begins in the year 2001, not the year 2000. Now, we're not going to say that we're going to try to pee on everybody's parade because, you can't stop progress. They've already got all the movies and all the hype. I mean, there's this big, gigantic roller, a steamroller that's on its way, and nobody's going to stop it. All we're just trying to do is point out, very matter-of-factly, whenever we can, that some things are bullcrap, and this is one of them. I mean, if you get any call, I'm going to, seriously, I want you to break this. What, you already had a call? From some asshole saying that we're wrong. You had 2 calls?
No. They're on. We have calls on the board.
We have calls from people who want to debate this point? Who want to tell us that the next millennium starts January 1st, 2000?
I can only
even though we know that only an asshole would say such a thing?
Hysterical.
Even this gentleman who walked in the door, I don't even have any idea who he is. Even he knows. What?
Car wash guy.
Oh, the car wash guy. No thanks. No thanks. But even he knows the next millennium starts January 1st, 2001, right? Right. See, he's nodding his head. He just walked in the middle of the conversation wanting to wash my car, and I said, no. And don't put no air freshener around it either. Now, I thought it was only Puerto Ricans that were into air freshener in cars, by the way. Do you want the lilac scent, or do you want the pine tree?
That's just that crown.
You hang it from the rearview mirror right next to your plastic Jesus and your Puerto Rican flag. 9 minutes after 10 at 560 WQAM.
I need some hand clapping. You don't need to use a condom. You don't need a dental dam. You don't need to say I love you or here's $50, man. You don't need to string for dinner or wear all that sexy stuff. All you need is a set of fingers and a wanker or a muff. 'Cause everybody's doing it all across the land. Masturbators of America, give yourselves a hand. Well, it's natural and organic. It's easy and it's fun. You don't know how to do it, ask your parents how it's done. You don't need a special license, you don't need a special skill. Just unzip and slip your grip between your hips and get a thrill. Cause everybody's doing it, and boy, it does feel grand. Masturbators of America, give yourselves a hand.
Squirt.
You can do it in the bathroom, you can do it in your bed, you can do it at a concert while you watch the Grateful Dead. You can rub it with some lotion, you can stroke it with a dog. On a Schwarzenegger pound and Michael Jackson jacks it off. Your attitude will soften, your horizons will expand. Masturbators of America, give yourselves a hand.
All right. 10:15 at 560 WQAM. Kimba Bocamper for Hank, 2 o'clock this afternoon. Hank's up there at Baltimore for the Preakness for a couple of weeks, and why not? And then we got Talking Baseball with Donnie, who is that? Oh, with Donnie B, but they got, see, that all ran together there. Not a good job on the schedule this morning, by the way, Bluff. I just thought I would mention that. Did Bluff get his new desk yet, by the way?
No.
I just mention that every day. See, it says Talking Baseball with Donnie Ken. I guess it means Ken Malden's doing the updates, but it's like all written together there, and I thought, what the hell is that? Pretty sloppy job there on the schedule, since that really can, between the nephew and our program director, I mean, they spend at least, I'd say, 90% of the time they're in the building making up these schedules. And then if there's like a change, they come racing, and you're like, oh, my God. And then we got the Marlins at the Milwaukee Brewers, a team they've never beaten, by the way, tonight, just to make it a little bit more exciting. Now, I got to say this. Oh, by the way, Tom Jicka finally writes an article about the ratings. Not really a good article, even though he just fawns over me and Howard. Thanks, Tom. Although you are. I mean, and you know something? Anytime I'm going to be photographed, if there's ever going to be a photo of me anywhere in any publication, I'm going to insist that a picture of Howard will be right next to me. Because God, it makes me look a lot better. And that is a good picture. Where the hell did they get that picture of me? Huh? WEDR Radio's #1, Rogers and Stern top shows. And Jicka finally, only 2 weeks to the day after the ratings finally came out, he got around to it. Nice going there, Tom. You're really right on top of it. Oh! But anyway, getting back to this other business, you're having people continuing to argue with you about this?
They're on hold now.
I know. I see we got all these calls, which if I'm talking about something important, I never get any calls. But seriously, this is as simple, like the guy said, it was a great fact, counting your fingers. You don't start by saying, you get to the thumb, okay, 0, 1, no 0, okay? No 0, no, okay? Please. We don't start counting like if you had marbles, okay? If you had 6 marbles on the floor in front of you, and many of you probably do. In fact, some of you probably lost some of them already. But if you started out with 6 and you tried to count them, you wouldn't pick up the first one and say, okay, 0, 1, no, okay? Stop with the 0. Too many of you people involved with the 0. For example, the date of that first year AD wasn't like March 10th, 0. There was no such year. You know, you can't have a March 10th, 0. You know, the Ides of March, the year 0. No, there was no year 0, okay? There was 0, but not 0. Oh, these people. Here's a mobile in Big Pine Key. Hello? Oh, look at that. We got a phone problem again here. How do you like that? Okay, here we go. It's WQAM. We got every line on the board lit up, and we can't put them on the air, so we're going to have to, reload the whole system again. Oh, is this getting old or what? Yes. Is this getting frickin' ponderous? Yes. I'm going to say the F word on the air. I can't believe this. I'm in such a good mood this morning. I feel so great. Everything's coming up roses. Yeah. And here we are, 2 a.m. again, where here we go. Hear the noises again. Yep. Okay, stand by. Yeah, QAM recycling. Gotta cut everybody off the phone. Okay, you can call back in now. And maybe it'll work. Here, let me pick up on call. QAM, hello.
George.
There you go. No, it's me. I picked it up cold to see if it's working. It's working, sir. You're on.
Although the 21st century begins at the end of this year.
The 21st century begins at the end of this year?
Right at the start of next year.
No.
The second millennium ends December 31st, 2000. That means January 1st, 2001 is the beginning of the new millennium. Andrew's bar.
That's what I just said.
Right. So tell the people to get their numbers straight.
And but I mean they're going to say that the 21st century starts with the year 2000, but it really doesn't.
Right.
Okay, thank you. That's right. Thank you. That's what we just said. Well, there's a guy that can actually count. God bless you, sir. Thank you. 567-0560, pound 560. You know, this is getting really old. I said the other day I don't give a crap anymore, but at least technically, you know, you bozos in this place, why can't we get a phone system in here that works every day, or at least like 90% of the time? We finally get something that these people are whipped up about, as embarrassing as that is, by the way, but we finally get some interest here on this goddamn show, and then you can't put a goddamn call on the air because we're working with this piece of crap Gentner phone system at Radio Shack for like $50. You can buy a better radio system and phone system than this piece of crap. In fact, that pirate station that they're raving about in New Times, they probably got better equipment than we've got. In fact, that goes without saying. Talk about see, but like I said the other day, nobody cares. There's no embarrassment factor because they don't care about these things. These aren't the things they're concerned about. Just funnel that money through here. Just keep shoveling it through here, along with the they win 2 shovels, one for the money and one for the and then they're happy. That's all they care about. Just keep shoveling it. Here's Lake Worth. Hello.
Nigga Neil.
Yes, sir.
Hey, you need some explaining to do for me here on this molybdenum thing.
Yeah, okay. 567-0560, pound 560 on the mobile one line. Maybe it was an act of God, you know? Maybe it was an act of that we had to cut a lot of these people off because that guy. Oh, and by the way, that guy that called yesterday, who's a chronic caller, by the way, chronic regular right-winger, you're not fooling me, sir, with your phony rimmer-like laugh, you know, which he left out yesterday. The one that thinks I'm so stupid and he's so smart. Well, guess what? The public furor over the gun control laws, all of a sudden the right-wingers in the Senate yesterday had a change of fart. Isn't that amazing? Oh, yeah, well, you know what? Guess what? Maybe we better put some more teeth in these laws, and it's not such a good idea to let people running around buying guns at gun shows without any background check, et cetera, and so on, and leave it like voluntary. All these gun huggers out there, man. Let me say it again. Any of us who've ever visited a place where they're civilized and people aren't blowing each other's brains out, you don't have to look over your shoulder to see what lunatic has got a gun, those places are places where you can live. But this guy, he loves it that way because he's in love with his peace and those of his ilk. Here's a mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Neil.
Yes, I am.
All right, I'm going to clear this number thing up now.
Okay, you straighten it out for us.
Here's the deal. You're confusing time and numbers.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Well, here's the point. During the first year, during that whole year, you can call that year 1.
Yes.
Until the moment it becomes January 1st, 1201, that's the beginning of year 2. So you are right in when saying when the 0 year is really year 1, which is what you're saying.
Sir, stop. There is no 0 year, sir. There is no 0 year.
When you
so
work
just forget the big if you can. There is no 0 when you're talking about time. There's no 0.
Well, that's true, because during the whole first year, you can call that year 1. That's.
Wait, what do you mean I can call it year 1? It's already, I hate to break the news to you. Guess what? It's already gone.
But you complete year 1 at the end of the year, though. You're going to complete year 1 at the end of the year during the whole year, and then year 2. At January 1st.
So let me ask you this: is this a bulletin that you're telling me, or what?
No.
Okay. Good luck to you. Woo! Wow. I'm going to tell you something. Let's look up the word in the dictionary right now. Okay. Profound. Because if ever I had a call, all the calls I've had, the 75 trillion calls I've had over the years, I mean, these are some of the most profound. Like I said, taking something, first of all, that nobody with a brain would spend any time worrying about. I mean, what the hell difference does it make what you call it, you know? They're doing it because it's a hype thing. It's like anything else. Somebody can make some money off of it, or whip up some interest, or get some movies, whatever. But people we finally found, struck a raw nerve. They're concerned about the big, because probably most of them haven't had one in 6 months, at least. So the year 0 is a call. You can call it the year 1. Okay, here's my middle finger, okay? You can call it your friend, if you like, okay, sir? You can call it your best buddy. And I'll just keep it up there in the air, and you can keep looking at it. There's a message in there somewhere. Yes? I mean, I'm listening to adults talking like that, you know? Call after call, they're going like that. Over what year? And you wonder why we have people who are like all with these wild-eyed, superstitious, religious bullcrap. And, they're changing the calendar, so it must be the end of times, and Armageddon is coming. You're changing the calendar. The sun is up there, the world spins around. I almost said the sun goes up and the sun goes down. Maybe your sun. But, no, seriously. Daylight, nighttime. They could have measured time any way they wanted to. A day could have been like 2 times with the sun. It could have been anything they wanted. It was just a convenient way to measure a day. And as a result, they measured the calendars based on this whole thing, okay? But that gets a little bit too complicated. When we start talking about the sun traveling around the sun traveling around the earth. There you go. Doesn't the sun travel around the earth? Yeah, that's what I thought. Well, we withdraw the apology, by the way, okay? The church just withdrew the apology. That effing Galileo, that piece of crap. Probably a commie pinko, fag. Here's Miami Beach. Hello. Miami Beach.
Yeah, I think I can explain some of the confusion that's going on.
Okay, here we go.
All right, a millennium is 1,000 years. It doesn't, according to Webster, it's just a period of 1,000 years. It doesn't say when it starts and when it ends. It's just 1,000 years.
I understand that. So the first millennium was the years 1 through 1,000. That's correct.
Now, as far as, is why 2001 would be the start of the millennium?
Yes.
What was the first year of the 90s? The decade called the 90s. What was the first year?
What was the first year?
Yeah, of the decade we call the 90s.
That's not the same. What you're talking about was the first year of the decade, as opposed to it's got one thing has nothing to do with the other.
Well, all right. Well, let's talk about the first decade then. What was the year of the first? What was the year of the first year of the first decade?
1.
Okay. Well, then why is it 1990 now instead of 1991? Did we lose a year somewhere along the line?
No, we didn't lose a year. People just started referring to it in that way. But if you want to look at it accurately and literally, then 1901 was the first year of the 20th century, and that's for real. I mean, we do this is tradition. This isn't accurate. It's just tradition.
Another thing that's causing a lot of
modern tradition
confusion is there's 44 years that were lost somewhere because some monk couldn't add. And the calendar didn't start at year 0. You won't find an old coin somewhere with the year 1 on it. The AD came up years and years after it was supposedly started.
But that's how we measure time now. It doesn't make any difference. There was no year 0.
Well,
was there? You just got through saying there wasn't.
All right. The first year you were in Miami. You'd been on the air 6 months in Miami.
Sir, don't start trying to confuse, okay? We're talking about the calendar.
I'm talking about the calendar based on Neil God.
Yeah.
Okay. How long had you been on the air when you've been on the air in Miami? 6 months.
Based on these conversations today, much too long. Wait, about 23 years too long.
Well, it was 6 months. You hadn't been on a year yet. So which year was that you were on?
Okay. 27 after 10 at 560 WQAM.
It puts the lotion in the basket.
No matter how hard I try, can't get her to date a guy. That's just how it is. She won't touch a penis. Chastity, I'm grieving. It's so hard in believing, 'cause it's really lots of fun to date a guy who's really hung. Oh, I can't believe she's a lesbian. There must be something wrong that she's gay. I really don't know where I went wrong, no. I can't believe she's a lesbian. I really don't know where I went wrong. Maybe she heard Sonny sing our song. Oh.
That would do it. What is it, 12:30 already? 10:33 at 560 WQAM. Here's the facts. These people are just adamant. They just will not let go of the big... Oh! They just won't let go of it. It says, you are wrong. 0 to 1 is the first year. Every time I've been in Rome, I'm always fascinated by the buildings where on the side it says, Anno 00. There is no such thing. Like on the Colosseum, it says Anno VII in the year 7, okay? They knew their numbers back then. And yes, it's all man-made, but that's the way the calendar works, boys and girls. I hate to break the news to you. That's the real world. We could go by the Jewish calendar, then really get everybody all psychotic. But let's just save that for next circus or something. In fact, some of you, I think, belong in the circus, because this is just unbelievable. The year 0 to 1. There was. Let me say it again. There was no February 21st, 0. There was no such thing. The first year, as we invented the calendar, couldn't have been the year 0 because there's no such thing. It didn't exist. And this guy who starts in about the decade of the 90s, okay, I think he's thinking about the gay 90s is what he's thinking about. You're confusing all these different things, all this terminology, and mixing and matching decades with millennia, with all this other stuff.
All of these things.
Yeah, it's got nothing. Of course, anything that's in the 90s had to begin with a 9. That doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out, okay? The decade of the 90s. What does that got to do with the calendar? 1 to 1,000, first millennium. 1001 to 2000, second millennium. 2001 to whenever it ends, third millennium. Even Zager and Evans knew that when they made that song in the year 2525, and that was like 20 years ago. Even they knew that, I think. But these people are obsessed with 0. Just try. Maybe we can get a group lobotomy rate and remove the number 0 from your mind when it comes to dates. There is no year 0. There are years. There are. Maybe there ought to be. I know. They're adamant. Don't confuse them with the facts. This is just like the religion thing that poll we did yesterday. Don't confuse them with the facts. Here's a mobile in West Palm Beach. Hello.
Hi, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You are absolutely correct, sir.
Oh, thank God. Here's somebody that can count. That's got 9 fingers and then one more.
Okay. Now, this guy that called you before and told you that if you were on the radio for 6 months, of course you haven't been there a year. You've only been there 6 months.
Yeah.
When a child's born, what is he?
No. See, I never even responded to his question. I could have said like 23 and a half years. That would be the way I would respond. It'd be the half year being the 6 months.
Well, no, but when a child's born, he's not 1 year old. He's 6 months, and that's when the calendar started. And so-called 0, it's not 0, it's 6 months. The first 12 months, then it's year 1. When a child is born on January 1st, he's not 1 until he's a year old.
Yeah. What does that have to do with the price of halava?
No. No, nothing at all. Nothing at all. But year one was year 1.
I thought I did such a I was so proud of myself. About 4 minutes after 10, I spent about 30 seconds laying this all out for the audience. I thought, okay, that'll be the end of that. And now it's not important. It makes no difference to me. If it'll make some of these people happy, I'm wrong and they're right. Just like I said, Detroit would win their game last night. I was wrong. They got clobbered. Ranford couldn't stop a watermelon. A lot of times I'm wrong. This is not a debatable point. This is like arguing whether, Todd Dreck is a human being or not. There's nothing to debate. The answer is obvious.
Yes, I just wanted to be the first caller to say that you are absolutely correct.
And God bless you, sir. And Gesundheit, too. Okay. Well, he said I was absolutely correct, but he threw all the other stuff about the baby. He threw in the baby with the bathwater, whatever the hell that was for, just to spice it up a little bit, because it is a terminal conversation, but this audience loves it. Look at this. They're obsessed with this. You're wrong and we're right. You're wrong, you son of a bitch. Okay, we're wrong. God, am I glad that I brought this thing up, huh? Just forget the big. Forget it. There is no year 0. Period. What year were you born? Oh, I was born on June 23rd, 0, yeah. Huh? What does that mean? Yeah. Here's Miami. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Yes, hi. Okay, I'm a huge fan of yours, first of all. And I think you're wrong about this issue.
Uh-huh. How did I know?
Well,
this issue. I like the way you say it's an issue. Okay.
All right. When we
found an issue. After 23 years, we found an issue that South Florida's whipped up about.
I am. It's the first time that I call.
Good. Excellent.
You got me really revved up.
Great.
Anyways, when we get to the year 2000,
yes.
Okay, we have completed 2,000 years.
At the end of the year 2000, right?
No. No, because...
Yes, because the first... Sir, listen. If you had 2,000 apples...
Right.
The first, and you started counting them, the first apple would be 1, and the last one would be 2,000. Then if you had somebody gave you another 1,000 apples, the first one would be 2001. That would be your third 1,000 apples.
Right, but the point is that on the first day of the year 2000, you've started already the year 2001. So you're in the 21st century.
And wait a minute, January 1st, 2000 is going to be really January 1st, 2001?
No, but you're in the year 2001. So it counts as the 21st century.
If we're in the year 2001, how come we're calling it the year 2000?
Anyways.
Have a great day.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Oh, my head may explode. I'll tell you what, while we're arguing about this, how about putting something good in your mouth, huh? No, not that. I'm talking about a great stogie from our friends at Nick Cigars.
It's Friday, you bastard.
Peeping through the keyhole, watching Mom and Dad. Peeping through the keyhole, the most fun we ever had. Mom and Dad were playing tag right there on the bed. Mommy used her boobies as a pillow for Daddy's head. Mommy's head was bobbing. She almost got whiplash. I don't know what she was drinking, but she got a milk mustache. Peeping through the keyhole, ain't sure what I see, but I sure do like it more than anything on TV. Mom and Dad were hooked together like my Lincoln logs. Last time I saw something like that, Mom was yelling at the dog. Dad was breathing heavy. Mom was on her knees. He must have had a boo-boo cause she kissed him where he pees. Peeping through the keyhole, watching Mom and Dad. Peeping through the keyhole, the most fun we ever had. Well, we watched a little longer, and I started to get sick. If Daddy's name is Elmer, why Mom asked for Dick? Daddy groaned and his eyes rolled back. Mommy wanted more. She climbed back on top of him, but all he did was snore. Peeping through the keyhole as the minutes pass. I can't wait to try this out on some girl in my class. Well, I can't wait to try this out on some girl in my class.
And don't forget,
ad agency people are assholes.
10:45 at 560 WQAM. This is fantastic. Can I try it? No, better not. One more time. No, seriously. The year one. Forget about all the religion and this. We're talking about the calendar as man invented it, just like religion as man invented it. Let's get back to the calendar. The year one, the very first year. January 1st, year one. Okay? December 31st was the end of year one. All right? Are we following that? That was the first year. That was one. Uno, adin. Okay, if you got it, one. January 1st, year two, was year two. All right, you know, we could kill between now and 2 o'clock. I could go, in fact, this would prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt. We just don't have the time. We wouldn't get the spots in. I could go all the way through. January 1 through December 31, year one, that was the first year. So when we've completed the year 2000, that will be 2,000 years of recorded elapsed time, AD, that have elapsed. Okay, have you got that? 2,000 years. Then when we start with 2001, that will be the beginning of the 3,000 years of man's recorded existence, AD. Add Pat's Domino.
Sounds like Sesame Street.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh, geez. Yeah, right. But you left off the... Oh! What's wrong with you, man? You left off the big O. These people are obsessed with zero. Maybe because they live here. Maybe that's what their lives are all amount up to is a big, because you live in South Florida. Don't take it personally. Just because you live here, that doesn't make you a big... Leave the zero out. There was no year zero. Got it? Year one. Then there was year two. I'm going to go all the way through to 2000, okay, just to convince you. Man, oh man, Shevitz. And you wonder why people kill each other over a parking space? Did you see that thing that happened at that motel the other day? Guy got beaten to a bloody pulp with a baseball bat over a parking spot. He pulled in for a couple of seconds. Or, of course, sometimes if they don't have a baseball bat, it's handy to have a... That's the American way. Yeah, that's usually more... that's quicker and more final. But then, of course, the guy can't back out of the parking spot. You have to do it for him. So you wonder why people argue and get all whipped up over things that are so patently obvious to anybody with even a tiny little brain. Even if you have a tiny little penis like I do, you know that this is the way it is. And I understand that the whole human race is going along. Oh yeah, the millennium, right? It's a hype job. Great. That's like Ricky Martin can sing, right? Does anybody believe that? Huh?
No.
Of course not. But that's the hype of the month. So let's go along and say, oh yeah, he's great. And he sure likes the ladies, too. Here's a lady in Miami. Hello.
You know, you're brilliant as always.
Oh, yeah, it really takes a genius to figure this out.
No, but I'm going to have to differ with you.
Oh.
Because all those other brilliant Polish and German mathematicians in the last century had this problem that they were dealing with, and it was a continuum. Time is a continuum, and they had 1 year lagging, 1 year ahead. That's why
they had 1 year ahead of what?
Well, that's why the 1800s is called the 19th century. And the 1900s is called the 20th century?
That is not why. Let me say it again. The years 1 through 100, that was the first century. When we get to 101 to 200, that's the second century. So when it was the year 150, for example, the number was ahead, the century number was ahead. It's got nothing to do with a lag in time.
But the calendar is set up, the Caesarean calendar is set up where it's a year ahead of time because...
No, it's not a year ahead of time. It just takes in the factor that 1 through the first 100 is 100 years. It's got nothing to do with being a year ahead of time. It's got to do with the fact that there's no year 0.
But there's the first day of the year, which is a continuum, time is a continuum.
Starting at 1, not starting at 0, starting at 1. Am I wrong about that? Was there a year 0?
They call the year 0 1. They call the year 0 1.
They call year 1 1. How can there be a year 0? Stop and think about it. How can there be a year 0?
Well, that's why they didn't call it 0. They called it 1, but it was actually 0.
You keep throwing Zorro into this. There was no Zorro and there was no 0.
Well,
there was no such thing.
Before the calendar...
Throw out the 0.
Okay, then let me put it this way.
Please, toss out the...
Okay, then let me put it this way.
It's so simple if you stop throwing a 0 in there.
Okay, then before there was recorded time, there was just time, correct? Hundreds of thousands of years.
That's like asking me if a bear, in the woods, will somebody step in it? What
no,
is
obviously
that?
there was the human race existed before there was recorded time, correct?
Of course.
Hundreds of thousands of years of
before
people
Barney
living and dying, and there was no calendar,
Fred
correct?
Flintstone, yeah.
And then when they invented the calendar, they called it year 1.
Right.
But it began with the first day of year 0. Because it had to begin with the first day. Okay, that's all I have to say.
Wait a minute.
What?
Didn't I ask you just a minute ago, was there a year 0, and you said no? Didn't I ask you that question? Was there ever a year 0, and you said, of course not?
Well,
and now all of a sudden,
okay,
didn't I say, give up the 0? Didn't I say that? And you said, okay. You said, okay. And now you're back to the 0 again. There was no year 0. Ask Julius Caesar. He'll tell you there was no year 0. Please, trust me.
All right, I trust you.
Okay.
Bye.
I must sit on the floor for a half hour and meditate. I'm serious. I'm going to masticate right now. I mean, I can't deal with this. No, that's even Rod Serling wouldn't be able to believe this. He couldn't. Ripley would be nonplussed. We went through the whole conversation. At the end, all of a sudden she whips it back in there again. The year 0 makes a comeback. That's the problem with the world is the big, okay, and maybe some of us aren't getting enough like that thing says, but the big, there is no year 0. How could there be a year 0? I mean, there could have been. I mean, if they decided that was the way they were going, but they didn't. They didn't. They could have said the first year was the year 77, just for the hell of it. Maybe they liked the number. But they didn't. They said 1. Oh. It's the beginning. It's the first year. Let's call it the year 1. Wow! What a concept. I mean, is this something that's really, is it all that difficult?
Yes.
Is it all that mind-boggling? Here you go. Take off your socks. Everybody in the audience,
No, not again.
Socks. And I'm actually wearing socks, okay? Okay, we'll start with the fingers. Assuming that those of you out there don't have any deformities, start with your thumb on your left hand. Okay, 0. Oh, God. Here's North Miami. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
God, I've never heard so many dumb people in all my days.
I mean, I thought I was making a little progress with it.
All
of a sudden, she brings the 0 back out of left field, out of nowhere. I thought the 0 was out of our lives, and she whips it right back in there again.
Is it not simple enough to say the 20th century is the 20th set of 100 years? 1901 through the end of 2000 that's another 100 years.
Yeah.
I'm a black man. They call us dumb. Jesus, Neil. I mean,
well, we're trying to make you feel better about yourself.
Is that what it is?
We're trying to lift you up.
They're doing a good job. I just want to tell you, I didn't hear you early in the week. Did you hear about Al Goldstein on with Johnny Cochran?
Did we hear about it? Yeah, too much.
Oh, okay, you did hear about it. I didn't
too much
know.
publicity for Al. I'm tired. He's a great guy, and we like using his apartment in Amsterdam, but he's too much of a oh, there's another publicity hound.
And the other thing I wanted to know, did you hear Kid Malden salute to you yesterday?
No.
During his updates? After you went out.
Oh, about the lotion in the
apartment. Oh, yeah, you did hear about it?
I heard that.
Yeah, okay.
Well, he's a great guy. He's our kind of guy, Ken.
Love you.
Okay, see.
Take care.
He's our kind of guy. Good Jewish boy, Ken Malden. His real name is what, Schwartz? This is just, even the Schwarzers understand this. How do you like that, all of you dumb white people out there? Man. I'm serious. My what used to be my brain is now there's just a vacuum there. I used to have, like, maybe not a big one or a brain either. But now it's just gone into a resting position, may never make a recovery. After listening to these convoluted, I mean, first of all, what difference does it make? Why is it so important? Other than, like I said, and it's all your fault, by the way.
I have no idea.
As usual, troublemaking little spick, just stating the obvious, which people don't want to hear the obvious. This isn't something I ever would have even thought about if you wouldn't have mentioned it. And look at all, they already killed an hour. Nice going, George. Mobile implantation. Hello.
Hey, Neil. How you doing?
Okay, I think.
It's amazing you can put up with these people, I got to tell you. The brother who just called is exactly right. I'm going to try to do the most simple thing way I can do it.
Simple is the operative word. We need simple.
I believe, now I understand why you get the calls you do. Let's imagine that you and I are sick of having a calendar based on the birth of Christ. And so tonight at midnight, we decide to start all over, new calendar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, at midnight.
Zero.
And zero. And we'll still use January, February, just for convenience. But okay, so at 5 minutes after midnight, it will be January 1. What year? 1. It would be 5 minutes after midnight on January 1, the year 1. You don't start with the year 0.
Well, that seems to be the most obvious premise of any discussion is that you can't start. Nobody starts counting anything with 0.
Of course, when we say it's the year 1, what we're really saying is we're working on the first year.
Right. That's right. The first year of recorded time, as we decided to make it up. Right. That's right.
Right. We haven't
so
finished
it
until we get to the end of it.
Right.
It's the same. We haven't finished the year 1999.
And after you finish 2,000 years of those 1 years, you have 2 millennia, and then 2001 is the first year of the next millennium.
You will have a set of 2,000 years at the end.
You know what this is like? This is like trying to peddle matzo ball soup to Jews. You know, I mean, there should be a piece of cake. Should be no problem.
How hard is this? People get confused, I think, over the...
This should be like trying to convince the Greeks that baklava is tasty. You know, I mean, there should be no problem here.
People get confused. The guy who brought up the 90s got confused by the way numbers are used as names.
Well, see, but they want to bring in all these different discussions that have nothing to do with this.
Exactly. If you're just looking at it as counting, to count 2,000 years, you have to have the end of the year 2000, which means January 1, 2001. You are exactly right.
Okay. God bless you, sir.
It probably didn't help these people, but...
I think they're beyond help.
I think
I'll see you in year 0. Okay. There you go. I mean, this guy, he's getting exasperated because, Tim, it's pretty obvious. It's pretty easy. The only way that you can screw this up is if you keep bringing that big 0 back again. I'm telling you, forget about 0. Forget about it. There is no year 0. There is no year... Oh! Spent an hour of my life here this morning arguing with a bunch of supposedly adults. Leave the intelligent part out. With a bunch of adults over the age of old enough to do it. Arguing about something that you know what that would be like? That would be like arguing, are we on the air, Or is this station on the air now? And that's more debatable than about what we're talking about today. 10:57 at 560 WQAM. Do yourself a big favor.
WQAM, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
Okay, it's 11:01 at 560 QM. Finally, we got somebody on the phone who can help solve this problem. This is the most unbelievable, the most frustrating conversation I've ever had in the history of my meaningless life. Hello? He probably left.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. See, you don't know what I'm talking about yet.
No, I don't know what you're talking
about. That's good. Well, I've just spent an hour debating this audience about when the third millennium starts. Okay, I tried to explain to them that there was no year 0 and that the first millennium was the years 1 through 1,000, and so that the second millennium began with the year 1001.
So what's so difficult about that?
It's like picking a winner in the Preakness. Dave Johnson here, the great race caller, has been calling the races on ABC television for 300 years, since before they invented it.
You know, I've been calling them so long. When I first started calling, the numbers on the saddle cloths were in Roman numerals.
Yeah, VII, that's right. And how about that big number? In fact, here, you know something? This is a great tie-in. When they go to the post tomorrow for the Preakness,
yes,
there will be no horse with the number 0.
That's right, and that's because of the millennium problem.
Right. That's right. That's right. Oh, too bad we don't have a horse named Millennium tomorrow. Man, would they plunge their brains on that?
No, that'd be great. I love people that bet names.
Yeah, and you know something? They usually cash, too.
But you heard that George and I had a conversation while you were on vacation and I was working at the Kentucky Derby.
Yes, I did.
And we decided it was going to be either Charismatic or Worldly Manner because we picked horses' names out of that 19-horse field that fit you, and George picked Worldly Manner instead of Charismatic.
And his nose.
So there you go.
And I figure he owes me at least 20 across on Charismatic. What he
said to me.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
But at any rate, I'll have to stand or fall on my own here. And now give us the update, because Silver Bullet is out, right?
Silverbulletday is out,
right.
And she could have won from the parking lot, Neil. She's the best 3-year-old in the country, and I'm sorry that they decided not to run her.
And what about Vicar? Although Vicar's 30
apparently they're going to scratch Vicar tomorrow morning, which still leaves 12 of them.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
But that's better than 18 or 19. That field in the Derby. I never actually got to see the race. I was in Amsterdam having a great time.
Is that where you were?
Yes, I was. While you guys were potchking around with the Kentucky Derby. And, of course, I could lie to you and say, well, I'm really sorry I wasn't here, but I'm not. But, and to see a race with 19 horses, it's just too many. I keep reading about all the traffic problems, which is why I know I'm always going against the logic, but I'm going to pick Excellent Meeting, even though it's a filly and even though it's,
She's got a hell of a shot, and I don't like the Derby winner, Charismatic, or Menifee tomorrow.
Really? Well,
I don't like either one.
That's just your Pat Day bias again showing through.
No, it isn't. No, you know why? It's just this horse, both of these horses have run huge races in their last 2 or 3 starts, and I don't think these are not machines. They can't keep putting those bullets together. You got to go for a horse that, that maybe had an easier trip last time or didn't have to extend himself. So, I think you're on the right track.
And Charismatic, like I said, I never even wound up seeing the tape of the race when I got back, but from everything I read, he just benefited from all the traffic problems and everybody else's bad trips.
He stayed out of trouble.
Right.
Yeah.
See, the reason I'm picking Excellent Meeting with Kent DeSormo is I want to see Bob Baffert on TV again tomorrow, say bullcrap on here on national TV. That's what I'm really hoping. You know what a pervert I am. I'm hoping he gets on there and says maybe even something more exciting than that.
He might. I think he's a breath of fresh air, though, in our business.
Yeah, I love it.
And a heck of a horseman.
A guy with some real personality.
Yeah, and this horse that he's going to run, the filly Excellent Meeting, I think she's as good as anything in the field. I'm just going for a little more price. I'm going to take Stephen Got Even, 10-1. Hello?
Who's the?
Hello?
I'm listening. You're always out there on a limb. And then everybody in this audience knows, because you do this every year. Then when you go on the air tomorrow on ABC, you'll pick something else.
I will not.
You won't? You're going to stick with this one?
I'm going to stick with this one.
Do we have your word on it? Now, who's going to be riding Stephen Got Even?
Gary Stevens. He was going to ride Silverbulletday, and when that didn't happen, Nick Zito took him for his horse.
That's right. Because and Gary Stevens, of course, is hot as a pistol. He wins the big ones.
He won last week with Real Quiet, who won the Preakness the year before.
Right.
But this is a very good jockey and a very good horse. So 10-1, I like that better than 2-1.
Well, you think Excellent Meeting is going to be 2-1?
No, I think the probably Menifee will be 2.5 to 1.
Charismatic about 7 to 2, maybe 3 to 1.
Yeah, probably. With only 12 horses though, that'll lessen them probably a half a point. But anyway,
Excellent Meeting maybe 9 to 2.
That's a pretty good price.
I like 9 to 2. That's
now wait. What about a couple other long shots? How about Badge and Adonis? So we make a 4-horse box: Badge, Adonis, Stephen Got Even, and Excellent Meeting.
Adonis is Georgie Chavez.
Yes, and this horse came out at number 1 post position in the Derby, banged up against the rail, it ricocheted off the rail and into the horse next to him. It was a terrible race for him, so he lost all chance.
How did you enjoy calling, by the way, with 19 horses? I know you've done plenty of races with that many horses.
It was a nightmare.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare.
See, now, wasn't it a lot easier going back to the days when you were doing harness racing at the Meadowlands?
Yeah. They got in a line.
Because they got in a line, and then the drivers were the same colors in every race.
It doesn't seem to have the same flair, though. And of course,
I got to tell you a great story. Speaking about the drivers were the same colors in every race. Now, I don't know about you, because years ago I called some harness racing at county fairs in Michigan. And it's real easy to cheat and just, do the memory by the driver's color, so you know who it is because they wear the same colors every race.
You're giving away all of our secrets.
Right. But at any rate, Jack E. Lee once called a race at the Meadows in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
And they were having this thing where they had the drivers' championships, and it was from track to track, Freehold and Meadows and wherever.
Yeah.
And the drivers, instead of wearing their usual colors, they wore all the same colors. They all wore, yes. And somewhere I have that on tape, okay? And Jack Ely, I'm going to tell you, first of all, the Meadows, as you know, is a 5/8 mile track, and Jackie for years did Roosevelt and Freehold half-mile tracks. They went to the half-mile pole 6 times in this race, and Jackie Moe had the lead 17 different times, and then coming into the stretch from far behind, here comes Jackie Moe on the outside to win the race. Poor Jack, he called Jackie Moe I don't know how many different times in that race because they were all wearing the same colors.
You can't do that.
Yeah, I know. Well,
I could never call a baseball game.
Huh?
I could never call a baseball game or a football game. They all wear the same colors.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. That's a good point. Well, it's great hearing your voice, and you sound richer than ever.
Welcome back to the United States.
Yeah, sure. It's easy for you to say. Well, I'm really sorry. I want you to believe this with all your heart. I'm really sorry that I was over there having a great time in Amsterdam and Cologne, Germany, while you were enjoying the Derby. But it's one of those things.
Some of us have to stay and work.
There you go.
But George did a good job picking for you, and he picked Prime Timber, who finished 4th. My horse Vicar finished 18th. So whatever the bets were, I got to pay.
Well, have you run into Hank yet up there?
Yeah, we've had a lot of laughs so far, and we worked together on the draw on Wednesday night, and
you notice he's lost a person since you saw him last.
He is what a great guy he is,
yeah.
and just a terrific human being, but a good broadcaster and a great horse player.
And
we
lost a lot of
really
weight.
have a lot of fun, and
we can keep him alive another year now.
Lost a lot of weight.
Great. Okay, thanks, Dave.
Hey, Neil, take care, and we'll talk to you before the Belmont.
100 across on excellent meeting.
You got it.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, there's Dave Johnson, who'll be calling the Preakness on ABC tomorrow. And what do I know? I like Kentis Hormone. I like the fact I'm reading. Every time I read a horse that's got traffic problems, blocked, whatever else, that's the horse I like. And, of course, they usually lose. Oh, thank God we got a little bit of diversion. And when they come out for the post parade, by the way, be sure and watch very carefully for horse number 0. What are these people talking about? What are they saying? This has got to be like a candid camera thing, candid radio? It's got to be. Alan Funt rhymes with bunt. He's got to be around somewhere behind this. He's got to have his finger in the air. 10 minutes after 11 at 560 WQAM. You know,
1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Estoy contando. Abajo de la lluvia. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Estoy contando. Y me gusta.
My anus. 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 Keep focusing. My anus. My anus. My anus. Hi, kids. Y'all like cutting little stinkers? That funny little sound that comes right out your sphincter? Want to copy me and do exactly like I do? Get paid for writing little songs about boo-boo? My brain's all gone. I'm trying to get my groove on, but I can't figure out which Spice Girl I'm going to fart on. And Dr. Dre asked, yo, man, you pass gas? Hell no. Why do I smell ass, man? Well, since age 12, it seemed like I always smelled. I thought ripping gases and tooting was pretty swell. I got pissed off when I took my jeans off and farted so hard it turned my underwear backwards like crisscross. And every night I'm like, oh, dinner last. Then fart out my ass faster than a fat bitch who ate too fast. Smell this, honey. Yo, dude, wait a minute. That's my girl, cuz. I don't give a fuck. God sent me to stink the world up. My anus. My anus. My anus. My anus. My anus. My anus. My English teacher wanted me kicked out back in junior high. Said the problem was something crawled up my ass and died. I shot him in the face with my vapor. The worst happened later when I covered his desk with used toilet paper. Walked in the strip club, my intestines were filled up. Moved the bartender, took a dump in a tip cup. Went over to a dancer, had her fucking her garter. She lifted her leg up, and I knew she was a farter. 99% of my life I was lied to. I just found out my mom's got more gas than I do. Oh, baby. I told her I'd grow up to be a famous rapper, make a record about strange noises made on the crapper. You know you was dirt when the women rushed to leave. You tried to hold it back, but your butt needed relief. This guy at White Castle said it was pretty cool, but I had to go drop the kids off at the pool. My anus smells. My anus smells. My anus. My anus smells. My anus. My anus.
11:17 at 560 WQAM, your numerological station for the 29th century. See, let's get this straight, okay? So we start with the year 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10, okay? 0 through 9, there's the first decade. Are you following that? 0 through 9, well, that's for all the 0 people.
And how do you write a
so
0?
So in other words, how many years are there in a decade? 10, but the first one is 0, the last one is 9.
And how do you write a 0 in Roman numerals?
There isn't any. But, okay, 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. All these buildings in Rome, if you want to go over there, you'll see all the, it says Anno 0, everywhere you look. Anno.
Oh!
Here's Boca. Hello.
Hello, Neil?
Yes, sir.
I think I got this solved here.
Okay, it's pretty tough.
How many years have actually passed?
How many years have passed?
Yeah, how many
AD,
years?
how many years have passed? 1999 and whatever, however fraction it is.
Well, if 1999 years have passed, then we're working on the year 2000, right?
I beg your pardon?
If 1,999...
No, 1998 years have passed plus part of
right.
Plus part of this one, yes.
Right. That's it. There is no 0, nothing like that. How many years have actually passed?
Yeah.
1998, 5 months.
Well, why do we have to why do we have to complicate that? When we get to the point of January 1st, 2000, how many years will have passed? 2000, okay?
No, 1,999 years.
Like I said, 2001. How many years will have passed? See, now you're making it complicated, right?
Yeah, when you hit 2001, 2000.
Sir, let me say it again. Fingers and toes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mark these down, okay? How many bottles of beer on the wall? Mark them down in units of 5 or 10, whatever's convenient for you. I mean, why is this difficult? 1 through 1,000, that's 1,000 years. 1,000 through 2,000, that's the next 1,000 years. 2,000, what?
1001.
That's what I said. 1001, that's what I said. 1001 through 2000 is the second. I've already been through this. I said this an hour and 15 minutes ago. Only I wasn't so confused back then because it was very clear and very calm and very obvious to me. Now I think I'm losing my mind. We're just talking about counting frickin' numbers here is all we're talking about. This guy's asking me, well, how many years have passed? How many have passed this? Past gas. God. Anything that starts with 1, your infant, your guppies and your goldfish in the pool out there, they know how many years have passed, okay? Oh no, and that woman with the 0. I'm serious. I'd like to perform the lobotomy myself with a very rusty old scalpel. I'd like to have a little work on her where her brain used to be. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Here's Miami. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
You were just confused now, and it's not just as simple as 1, 2, 3, because we're talking in fractions, not in...
No, we're not talking in fractions. We're talking at the end of a complete year. We're not talking about fractions. We're talking what happens at the end of the year 2000.
I agree with you, but let me tell you where
people that want to confuse the matter and muddy the waters, those are the ones that want to keep talking about fractions. We're not talking fractions.
Let me tell you where the confusion exists. If you start, I agree with you. You start in the year 1. Now
that's excellent. That's a good starting point.
You don't complete 1 year until the end of the first 365 days of year 1. If the Armageddon came at 180 days of year 1, how many years did you have?
Okay, 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Here he is with the Armageddon, okay? Are you following this? Here's Wilton Manners. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
2 simple questions.
Uh-huh.
If there is a year 0, is there a year 00?
Yes.
And also,
yeah, but they're both green, by the way.
There you go. These people that celebrate the millennium on 2000, are they going to celebrate on January 1st or January 0?
January O.
Thank you.
Oh! Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Yeah, that's good. I was born January O, the year O, so you must be a big 0. I think that's what we got. We got a lot of people in this audience who are big zeros. Maybe they can relate to it. We just can't. It's just not in our vocabulary. 567-0560. Are you following me? 567-560 and pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. So anyway, getting back to Tom Jicka's piece here in the paper, which eventually I will sooner or later, once we get this all straightened out. Good picture of, what's his name?
Oh, God!
Howard looks like Howard. Like I said, I sure like being photographed right next to him all the time. He's got all the money, and I look how great I look. Not generally speaking, but next to him. I look fantastic. And Tom goes on about the pounding beat of WEDR is still number 1 in South Florida radio, but when it comes to personality-driven programming, Neil Rogers and Howard Stern remain unbeatable. And he goes on about EDR did this, and Radio Mambi did that, and Radio Romancia, and Power 96, and Bada Beep, Bada Boop, and Kiss, and Hot, and The Love, and 8 million FM stations. Then he says among stations with specialty formats, sports-dominated QAM finished in a tie for 13th, and All News IOD tied for 20th. But, of course, he doesn't say what demographic he's talking about. I assume 12+, which is meaningless. Then he goes on to say, proving my point, most radio sales are not conducted on the basis of the 12 and over demographic. The 25 to 54 audience is one of the most avidly sought by sponsors, and it is here that Rogers and Stern rule. Among the entire audience, Rogers' 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. program runs third in this time period. Bababan goes on about this, and providing a great lead into Hank Goldberg, whose program has the station's second highest ratings. Actually, Rogers' audience is even more finely targeted, men 25 to 54. In this demographic at midday, he's a runaway number 1. And then Howard does this, and does that. Number 1 with English-speaking audience, number 1 among English speakers and people 25-54, and head and shoulders among men in this, et cetera, and so on. Then he goes on to say, Stern is said to cost WBGG about $500,000 a year, a previously unheard-of figure for a syndicated program, many of which are available virtually for free. Rogers is even more pricey. His contract with WQAM makes it possible with ratings bonuses for him to become the only $1 million man in South Florida radio. The drawing power of both superstars shows that in radio, as in life, you get what you pay for. Thank you, Tom. Nice suck job. Excellent. Is there anything in here about the INZ, by the way? See, there's nothing about INZ and stupid talk, because if, just like I predicted, I told you so. I know my customer here. If he would have written about them at all, he would have had to write about Rick and Spud. And he hates Rick Riley like poison, so he won't do it. Because I think that is a story, don't you? The fact that they did that, I mean, that's a big switch. In fact, the story behind the story about the fact that they were going to get canned, and Rick Riley went to Pete Bolger and said, you got no morning show, give us a shot in the mornings, and they've goosed their numbers way up to the highest they've ever had since they changed the format, and what's her name has dropped the numbers out of sight in the afternoon, but he won't do that because he hates Rick Riley, basically. So nice going, Tom. Thank you for all the nice things and the nice picture, but, it just continues to be the same. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T line. Here's Miami. Hello.
Hi there, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Before I go on, man, let me say, man, hearing that article, man, I'm surprised they didn't get sucked into the newspaper. That was such a good suction job. Anyways, about this whole year zero.
Everybody
thing.
likes a little suction, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, me too. Anyways, about this whole year zero thing.
Yes.
You see, we're talking about the calendar that was created by the psychotic Christians, and in this calendar, the year zero is considered the first Anno Domini year, the first AD year, the year theoretically.
Sir, there was no year zero. There is no such thing.
No. The year zero is.
Well, why do you keep saying the year zero? There is no year zero. Because there isn't any.
Because the year zero is the first year Anno Domini.
No.
Based on the Christian calendar.
Based on what? Where do you find that? Where's the documentation for that? Okay. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T.
He was just about to tell us.
Line. What? No, he was just taking a deep breath. It's just amazing to me how many ignorant people are out there, and they're laughing at us. They think we're stupid. Here's a fax that says, from our big fan Javier, when a human is born, he is not 1 year old. He begins at 0. When a year is completed, he turns 1. That's why people are confused. Yada, yada, yada. Javier. Well, I hate to break the news to you, Javier, but all you people that want to muddy the waters and make this into a big, convoluted song, you know what? This is like a pissing contest. You guys are dumb. We're smart. Okay, whatever you say. You're smart. George and I are stupid. We believe you.
You thought that I was stupid?
Yeah, right, exactly. Gilbert's a genius. We're stupid. Comparing apples with oranges, like the guy wanted to talk about the year 1990 being the decades of the 90s. Apples and oranges, it's got nothing to do with the passage of time based on the calendar that was designated starting with the year 1. That's what they designated the first year to be. They could have, like the guy said from Vegas, they could have designated it as 00, okay? 007. But it was year 1. And as of December 31st, the year 1, when that year finished, 1 year had been completed. On December 31st, at the end of the year 2000, 2,000 years will have been completed on the calendar. We didn't invent the goddamn calendar. The Goyim invented it, okay? So don't blame us. And here's the best one. A fax that says, "You are stupid!" Oh! Exclamation point. Yeah, we're stupid. I must be awful stupid. What time did you say I was making a year here? Arguing with people about what year it is?
What kind of year are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. We're sitting here laughing at how ignorant you are, it says. You have no conception of time. That's because we got a crappy clock in here, by the way. Although I do have a good watch. On your 10th birthday, you are 10, not when you turn 11. Yeah, isn't that what we just said? When they finished the first 100 years, they finished 100 years, 1 through 100. That was 100 years. Very good. When you are 10 years and 1 day old, you're in your 11th year and on your second decade. When you turn 11, you've already completed 1 year of your second decade. Let me illustrate how your thinking is wrong. And now we start with the apples, the oranges, and all the other fruits. Here we go. Military time, 0030, which is 30 minutes into the day. At 0100, see, the problem is we don't have a military calendar. We're talking about measures of time artificially invented by man. That's what we're talking about. Man invented a calendar with his artificial, the idea like February has 28 days, except on every 4 years it's got whatever it's got, Man-made artificial bullcrap. At 0100, an hour is into the day. You think because there's no hour number that no time has passed. Right, that's right. When I go to Europe and they're on military time, I think that if it's 0100, no time has passed. Right. Therefore, when it's 0200, 2 hours have passed, but you would say, no, only one has because you're starting from 1, not from 0. You see, I hate to break the news to you, but military time starts at 0. The calendar does not. Okay? The reason you can't compare fingers and apples to time is because they're units of 1. Years have components called days and months. When you have your first birthday, you have ended your first year and not began the year. You see what I'm saying? We're not arguing about how old man is. We're talking about an artificially invented calendar, period. That's all. And if the first year was designated as the year 1, at the end of 2,000 of those same years, that's the end of 2 millennia, period. 2,000 years. 1 through 2,000. It's not complicated. You don't have to count on your fingers. He says, I haven't heard such ignorance since George said the white man killed 170 million Indians. There never was 170 million Indians alive in North America ever. There never was.
I said 50 to 100.
There never was. Not there never were. There never was 170 million Indians.
I'm dumb and stupid.
Yeah. I thought you were dumb and stupid.
I is.
You be. Wow. See, here we go. We got all these. They're all smarter than we are. This is what these shows are all about. They're the experts. We're the morons, and they sit out there so they can laugh at us. Great. That's great. I'm glad we're giving you some good laughs. It's 11:34 in the morning. An hour and 34 minutes has passed. I haven't had a response like this since the last time we gave away $1,000 bills. I mean, this is unbelievable. And they're all adamant. They're adamant. And this is just like the discussions about religion. You start out at point A, and then all of a sudden they're at point X, Y, and Z. They start bringing all these extraneous things from left field because they can't. There's nothing to argue. There's nothing to debate. There's nothing to debate. It's an artificially designated number. 1 makes sense to me, especially based on a numerical system. You wouldn't have a year 0 anyway. Why the hell would you have the year 0? How could you have a year 0? And at the end of 365 days in year 1 in the first year, you had completed 1 year. Yes, that's right. You completed year 1. January 1st, that was the beginning of year 2. Very simple. We're not talking about babies and how long they've been alive, when their birthday is. We're not talking about that. We're talking about a calendar invented by man. Passage of time. Passage of 2,000 of these units called years. At which point the 2001st one will be the beginning of the 3rd 1,000 years, the 3rd millennium. Got it? You got it?
No.
I'm sure you don't. Here's a mobile in Aventura. Hello. Oh. Nice talking to you. Yeah, they all of a sudden ran like put their tail between their legs. Probably chasing some Indians. Here's Coral Springs. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Neil. How you doing?
Okay.
All right. I got this out of the encyclopedia here, which should cover everything up.
Okay.
The system was based.
The what?
The dating system,
Uh-huh.
AD. It was based. Sorry, I got a call coming in.
Okay.
Was based on the year Christ was born. So, if something happened in AD 500, that means it took place 500 years after the birth of Christ. So it didn't happen 501 years after the birth of Christ. If there was a year 0, then that means that something in 500 AD happened 501 years ago, which it didn't. So, so that's what I got from the encyclopedia.
Okay, great. Well, I'll go out and burn it right now. Okay, thank you. You see what I'm saying? This is the only way you could complicate this is by doing what they're doing, bringing in all of these things.
I'm going to lock this door.
I'm serious. I cannot ever walk outside again. Although after that great thing from Dunkin' Donuts this morning, I have to make this go down the hall. That was real good, by the way. Thank you, guys. You don't have to be terrified of me, although if you do bring some crap in, I'll be sure to talk about it on the air. Oh, what are we going to do about our friends at Culligan, by the way? They don't even have a spot today, but I feel compelled to talk about them and how great they are and what a jackass that agency guy is, you know?
Ad agency people are assholes.
That Lipoff guy, Mark Lipoff. In fact, that's our poll question. Who's the bigger asshole, Mark Lipoff or Todd Dreck here in our sales department? I think it's a tie. It's a dead heat. Let's continue here. It's a very educational day for me today. I'm learning a lot, like maybe don't come back Monday. Here's Pompano. Hello.
Hey, Neil. How you doing?
Okay.
First of all, did I hear you say you were giving away $1,000?
Yeah, sure.
No, I think...
We're giving away 0, which is what they're obsessed with today. That's what we're giving them, 0.
Well, I agree with you what you're saying, 1 to 100. That's very obvious.
You would think, yeah.
What people don't understand is, or what people are thinking, is that at January 1st of the new year,
yes, that's
what they're saying starts the year. So what they're saying is the year goes from the year 1000 to the year 2000 is 2 years because it's starting on January 1st.
From the year 1000 to 2000 is 2 years?
It's 1,000 years. Okay, from the year 1000 to the year 2000 is 1,000 years.
That's not correct.
Okay, but they're going...
From the year 1001 to 2000 is 1,000 years.
I understand what you're saying.
Because when you start counting, you start with 1.
Exactly, but what they're saying is that because January 1st of the year 2000 starts the first year, that's what it starts. So they're saying January 1st, year 2000 to December 31st, year 3000 would be 1,000 years. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, well, they're wrong.
Okay, now let me ask you one question.
January
1st,
sir, stop. Stop
okay.
and listen to me, okay?
I'm listening.
Listen to me. You got 10 fingers like I do, right?
Remember, I agree with you.
I understand. I don't care whether you agree or not because you're muddying the waters.
Okay.
You don't have to go through this because people aren't going to start counting on their fingers and toes in thousands. You're talking about units of 10, okay?
Right.
1, if you eliminate the 0, 1 through 10 is 10, okay?
Right.
Period. There's a 0 on 10, just like there is in the year 1000, but nevertheless, 1 through 10 is 10.
But the 1 had to start someplace.
Right.
And the 1 starts January 1st.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying.
That's what who's saying?
That's what everybody is missing. That's
not what they're saying. They're saying that year was 0, that the year 1 started the second year January 1st, which is not right.
Yeah. Now.
Okay, and have a great day. Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
Where exactly? This is, I have no words. I really am. I'm at a loss. For the first time in my life, I'm at a total loss for words to describe this experience. Just keep going, okay? It's already almost noon. Market's taking a good look. Yeah, a little bit of inflation fear there. Oh, yeah, there's nothing really substantial, but they're just a little nervous. So there you go. They must have known I bought a whole bunch of stock again yesterday. Dow was down 173. The Nasdaq's down...
I want to give you a kiss.
36, yeah.
Ow!
What's the matter, honey?
This hard, crusty snot, it's impossible to dig out. It hurts.
That used to be me, but not since I discovered boogies.
Boogies? You mean by the Bee Gees?
No, silly. Boog-Ease. It liquefies dried, stubborn snot on contact, so it slides right out. Here, give it a try.
Okay.
Now blow.
Hey, Boog-Ease works great. Take a look.
I'll say it works. Looks like you picked me a winner.
From now on, I'm going to get boogers better with Boog-Ease.
You think it's a problem, but it's not. Suck it up with Boog-Ease.
You know, see, I hate to break the news to you, some of you pseudo-intellectuals out there. Everything that we measure is artificially determined by man. We make all these units of measurement up. So that's the reason there's a difference between the time that we use and military time. We don't say, oh, well, it's 0 in the morning. We don't say that because that's not the way we measure time in this country. It's all artificially designed. But all these idiotic examples of, well, you know, a baby doesn't start 1 year old. No, he doesn't start 1 year old. But you know something? At the end of the first year from the date of his birthday, he's 1 year old. That was the first year of his life. Just like the year 1 was the first year in the measure of the calendar. Anybody know anyone that was born on January 0? On March 0? We don't use the number 0 in terms of the calendar, in terms of dates. It's not used. There's no such thing.
On leap year, doesn't that have February 0?
And even if we did, it doesn't make any difference because, this is so exasperating. In other words, in that first year, no matter what we called it, no matter what you called it, let's say nobody called it anything. Nobody designated that year as anything. At the end of the year, at midnight, December 31st, at the end of the first year, we would have completed year 1, A.D., recorded time. Am I right?
Uh-huh.
There you go. So what's the debate? So January 1st, the next day, becomes the first day of year 2. 1 and a 2 and a 3, and then you got Lawrence Welk and Ricky Martin getting in. Uno, dos, tres. Oh, don't start singing, Ricky, please. No, don't do it. Jesus Christ. I mean, all these people, and you wonder why people blow each other's brains out, or why nobody in this country should be allowed to be anywhere near a gun? Man. And they're hostile about it. They're adamant about it. Just like the God freaks out there. Oh, yeah, well, there had to be somebody invented. There has to be a crater somewhere. Why? Those mosquitoes out there that are chewing you up this spring and summer. Did somebody create them? And if so, why the hell they do it? See, ordinarily I would throw this in the wastebasket, but because I adopted my new attitude, the kinder, gentler Neil this week, except for Defo and his stupid faxes. Come meet the host of the new Motorsports Saturday show, Joe Costello, with the QAM van today at 12:30 at Hooters in Pembroke Pines at the corner of Pines and University Drive. And maybe show Joe your feet. Yeah, that's a good idea. Joe, he hates feet. He's obsessed. And maybe he'll even shave your nuts for you. Joe will have tickets to the American Racing League races for next weekend at the Homestead Motorsports Complex and complimentary passes to Golf Expo 99 this weekend in Boca. Oh, boy. And the nephew says, we got to do this as a favor for George Corso. We got to get people out of that racing crap down there. Okay, whatever you say. 12:30, Hooters at Pembroke Pines, Pines and University. Go say hi to Joe Costello. Bring some porno pictures for him, too, okay? He gets really nervous. Start exposing him to what life is really all about. It's more to life than just shaving your nuts, Joe. Here's West Palm Beach. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Maybe shaving somebody else's. Yes, sir.
Neil, this brings up a couple of pertinent points.
Yes.
One, when the score is 0-0 in a ball game, can you say there's no score?
No.
And
not if 0 is a number.
0. So you can't say there's no score. It's incorrect when they say there's no. And the other, I'm kind of questioning the existence of Zero Mostel.
Yeah. Okay. I think looking in the mirror would prove it to you. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. You can hear it in the voices, can't you? Kind of that like 60 cycle tone, you know, like that. As in you can't complain about his personality because he doesn't have one. Here's Pembroke Pines. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Listen, you just said what I was going to say. When a baby is born, is he 0? No. At the end of 365 days, is he 1 year old? Yes. If you're going to take a trip 365 miles away, when is your trip completed? Halfway, a quarter of the way, or when you get there? When you get there, that's the end of your trip.
Well,
when you get there.
You know, 365 miles would be right about to Jacksonville, and I think that would be the end. I think you're right. Oh, boy. You know something? I think my gallbladder is going to burst, and I had it taken out years ago. But I think it's going to make a comeback. I think I'm going to pass a stone. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT.
We're right, God damn it! You son of a bitch, you're wrong. We hate you.
If it'll make you feel better, it's the year 50,000. Well, whatever you want, okay? What do you want to call it? What would make you happy? What would pacify you? See, once again, what disturbs them is that they've been sucked in by all the hype. And I was sucked in by all the hype because I don't think about these things until George mentioned a few days ago, just in passing, that the end of the second millennium would be at the end of the year 2000. That would be the passage of 2,000 full years on the calendar. And then the first day of the third millennium would be January 1st, 2001. And it's very, very obvious. It's common sense. I said, oh, yeah, you're right. Didn't bother me that I had been wrong, that I had been, because who cares about these things? Like I said, I mean, if these are the kinds of things that you've got time to worry about in your life, then, hey, got a lot of Chinese people who like to come over here. Not the ones that are throwing all the crap in the streets, by the way. I'm talking about people who at least can cook. North Miami Beach, hello.
Hey, my nigga Neil.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I'd like to remind all the Christians out there that
Yes.
BC is not before Christ, before Caesar. Caesar's the one who invented the calendar.
Yeah.
So I'd just like to let them know that. And is there a God? No. Is there a heaven? No. And keep harping on it.
Okay, Georgie Harp Jr. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T line. Warren Harp. Let's start doing old harness racing names. That should wrap this show up real fast. We got Kim Bocamper for Hank, 2 o'clock. 6 o'clock, we got Talking Baseball with Donnie B briefly before that big Marlins at the Brewers game, 7:35 tonight.
No.
How about those Maple Leaves, huh? How about that Sergei Beres? And I said he's got to come through, okay? Sundin's been doing great. They woke his ass up. But I said there during the game last night to John, who was rooting big time for the Penguins, I said, we got to get Beres going again. When your leading goal scorer scored 37 goals during the season is in a coma, we got to get him going. First he hits the post, he goes in and gets the rebound, it's sitting there, and bada bing, and that's it. So no matter what happens from here on, at least this team is putting on a good performance, putting on a good show, and thank God for them. Here's Weston. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
What's up? There had to be a year zero because at the beginning of at the beginning of the calendar there was January 1st, and each month contributes to that first year. So you don't get to 1 year until the end of that first 12 months.
Sir, you're using logic. The first year was designated as year 1.
No, if you were to write the first year...
Sir, let me say it again.
No, if you were to write the first year...
You can keep saying no all you want. I'm just telling you the way the calendar works. You can keep saying no. It's like looking at the moon and saying that it isn't there. It's not going away.
Like next year, if you were to write January 1st...
Sir, I don't care what you write.
You would write
That's
1,
the way the calendar
1,
works. The
0,
first
0.
year was the year 1.
And when the first calendar...
Back off this, okay? 567-0560. Yeah. I was born on March 0 in the year 0000. Congratulations to you. Here's Coral Springs. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
Very easy to solve.
There's nothing to solve.
I
There's no
understand
mystery here.
First, I disagreed with you and George, and I stand corrected. And this is how you solve it. At the end of year 1, 365 days had passed.
Yes.
At the end of year 1999, 729,635.
Okay, thank you. Well, here's the whole thing about Y2K, by the way. It says, does it come as any surprise that lawyers have had seminars on how to profit from Y2K? Oh, and also here in this article, what's this from? What is this, what magazine? Somebody faxes me. This is from Road and Track. Road and Track magazine? Boy, Joe Costello would be proud. It says, by the way, though we all know that the new century doesn't actually begin until January 1st, 2001, let's agree to use the word millennium to describe all the neat zeros of 010100. This is by Dennis Simoniadis in Road and Track. Technology update, Y2K, doomsday or melodrama. will you be driving at all on January 1st, 2000? Let me repeat that paragraph again, okay, for all you intellectuals out there who are laughing at how stupid we are over here. By the way, though we all know that the new century doesn't actually begin till January 1st, 2001, let's agree to use the word millennium to describe all the neat zeros of 010100. There you go. As in, oh! And isn't it interesting? He says, though we all know that the new century, in other words, any of us who really thought about it for more than 5 seconds and have got a brain and can figure this out, see, you can keep calling it whatever you want. You can call me Schvo, you can call me Bo, but it's year one. And it makes sense that it's year one. The first year has got to be year one. How could it be year zero? Oh, yeah, but it wasn't until at the end of the first year they completed the year, but it still was the first year. It's still year one. It's like the guy says about when you're 1 year old. That was the first year of your life. That was the first year, at least AD, of recorded time.
Maybe nobody did nothing that year.
I mean, you're making my argument for me and then trying to turn it around. Yeah, but military time. Yeah, well, that's got a lot to do with this, military time.
Well, don't forget that.
If I said an hour and 5 minutes, it's going to be 1,300 people. You know what they would be doing? They'd be going, yeah, like that. This guy wants to start with military time, and which they use in Europe, by the way. We don't do that here. Okay, it's got absolutely. It's not only apples and oranges. It's kumquats and currants. The Dow is down 163. The Nasdaq's down 32 points. Well, that's the way it goes. You know, a little bit of panic there. Looking for an excuse to start getting panicky because it's all based on crap anyway. You know.
WQAM, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
Willie, are you still in the bathroom?
Yeah, Mom, I'll be right out.
Little Willie Stamper just found something amazing, and his life will never be the same.
God, he sure is in there an awful lot. Are you all right in there, Willie?
Almost finished.
Coming soon to theaters everywhere. It's
Yes.
When I Found My Dad's Pornos.
Willie, where did all the Kleenex go? And what's this all over the floor? Were you eating in here again?
From depressed and awkward teen to the happiest guy in school, Willie Stamper has found heaven in his father's hope chest.
No, it's okay, Mom. You and Dad go out. I'll stay here and watch the house. I don't mind.
When I Found My Dad's Pornos, rated PG-13. All kids aged 13 must see this film.
Okay, it's a minute past noon at 5:60. It's a minute past zero here on WQAM. So anyway, the forum, you know, the hysterical, everybody's doing it in the parks and at the Sawgrass handout newspaper. Whole kinds of letters to the editor. It says, we've received numerous complaints about last week's front page story, Cruising for Sex in Margate and the Creek. And, of course, this was by the same broad that wrote the other story in the other local, what is this, the forum, in the edition out there in Sunrise, about all the cruising at the Sawgrass Mills Mall, even though the security people there said, we don't know what they're talking about, there's nothing going on here. But she's obsessed. She's looking for glory holes. And it's got a whole, several of these letters saying that even if this stuff is going on, this is supposed to be like a community newspaper, and it's picked up off the front stoop, and little kids are reading it, and why do you have to put all this stuff in your, Yeah. Maybe this is part of a hidden agenda, you know what? Maybe the forum is trying to, and they also actually mentioned the website in there, which they got a lot of heat. Remember, I wouldn't read it on the air? The website that tells all these people where the hot spots for cruising are, for all this public sex, which I refuse to read on the air. And it says, well, to print the fact the website exists and information it contains, then not to identify the site would not have been credible journalism. You didn't have to print the site in there. You could have said, well, if you want to know the site, call us up or whatever. We have the name of the site on file, but for obvious reasons we don't want to publish it because we don't want to promote it. That would have been credible journalism. But anyway, that's the forum. I mean, journalism, a little crappy. You know what that is? You know what these papers are? Those are the things that you find on the drive-in, those little, like a real newspaper, except all mashed up in the rain, and you have to keep picking them up and throwing them out.
Yeah, little kids are reading those.
Yeah, little kids are reading those, huh? So keep it up. Keep looking for glory holes, okay, all over town. I'm sure you'll find plenty of them. Keep them off the streets. Keep them looking for those heavy-duty cruising spots. Let me just read that one paragraph again, okay, because it says, by the way, though we all, A-L-L, all know, except in South Florida, that the new century doesn't actually begin until January 1st, 2001. See, before you can start the third 1,000 years, you have to complete the first 2,000 years. Years 1 through 2000. That's 2,000 years. The first year of the third millennium will be 2001. Oh, now that's what I said 2 hours ago. It was simple. It was very common sense. There was nothing controversial about it. There was nothing revolutionary. A child could figure it out. And here we've been bombarded with hysteria, with faxes. Oh, you're so goddamn stupid. You guys. Yeah. Here's a mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Welcome to Stupid Radio. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
It's very simple why people can't break out of their straitjacketed minds and understand this.
Why is that? Please tell me. Tell me why.
It's the whole baby issue. They can't make that leap of logic between the way they count the passing of their life and the way the calendar counts the passing of time.
Yeah, but like I said, at the end of the first year, that's where all the arguments go out the window, because at the end of the first year, you've completed 1 year, and at the end of a year from when the baby is born, it's completed its first year, so it's 1 year old.
But people have been conditioned to thinking, okay, my first year, I'm not one until I reach the end of the year.
Wait a minute. In addition to which, as far as the counting of time is concerned, how could you have completed the first year and then go to the January 1st of the second year and said, okay, well, this is January 1st, year one? You couldn't do that. It's the second year.
Right. When people were hanging calendars
there should never have been a year zero, and there wasn't.
Right. When people were hanging calendars on their wall, the calendar didn't have a big zero on the top. It said January 1st, 0.
No, right.
It said January 1st, 1 on the calendar.
Right.
Because you have to start at number 1.
Right.
But people keep thinking that the whole baby analogy, that, well, I won't be 1 until I reach the end of the year.
And let me say it again. There is no zero in Latin. There is no zero. They had no number 0. I mean, there's an X for 10. They go by X's in multiples of 10 and C and whatever. But there is no 0.
Right. And what further confuses them is then after you reach the age of 1, you're still a 1-year-old until you get to the second year.
Right.
You finish your second year.
And at the end of the second year, guess what? You're 2 years old. Just like at the end of 2 years, we had passed 2 years.
It's two separate ways of looking at it.
Listen to me. I'm sitting here on the air talking to supposedly an adult audience saying at the end of the first 2 years, we had completed 2 years. I mean, is this profound or what, huh?
Uh-huh. Well, that's why Stanley Kubrick called his movie 2001. Because even back then, people understood that until the year 2001, we do not begin the new millennium.
Well, if they would have just talked during the movie, they might have taught people about it. If they would have kept so quiet, have a great day, pal.
Okay.
See you. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Nobody heard anything about it because what are they saying? What are they, Cure delay? Was that on like a 7-second delay? Oh. I've been doing this for 600 years. And I'm sitting here today saying, at the end of the first 2 years, 2 years had passed. And people are arguing with me about it. That's the best part. Oh, no, you're wrong. Oh, yeah? Yeah. 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 I could be searching for seeds in my rectum and be more productive than this. Maybe not earning as much money, but more productive. Here's Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hi, Neil. How you doing?
Okay.
Yeah, I want to change the subject, okay? Because the experts say it's 2001. If they say it's 2001, it's 2001. I want to talk about something. You know how the right-wingers are saying we should have Bibles in school to stop the violence?
Oh, yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah,
10 Commandments and Bibles, a lot of prayer.
But the thing is, what's more violent than the Old Testament?
Right.
God tells Joshua to kill every man, woman, child, and animal. They're killing babies.
Right.
They're baby lovers, and they're killing babies.
Right.
One more thing, and George was right. He was saying there were no dinosaurs in the Bible. He's absolutely right.
Much less flying ones, by the way.
And there's no Neanderthals.
They better not look at this week's Newsweek and see about how the first birds, the dinosaurs.
I saw that, yeah.
Right.
That's your evolution.
They better not look. Oh, don't say that, sir. You're going to burn in hell.
Did you read that guy in the Sun Sentinel who said if the Discovery Channel always talks about evolution with Neanderthals and dinosaurs, we shouldn't teach that. We should teach everybody we came from Adam and Eve and talking to snakes.
Right. Speaking of Neanderthal, right. Okay.
Thanks a lot, Neil.
God bless you. Oh, I mean, the religion thing is just, on the face of it. But now, I'm glad we had this experience today. Now I don't feel so frustrated and so bad about trying to convince people how obvious all this other silly stuff is. When people have got their brain locked, it is closed, somebody took out the key, they heaved it away, and once they've got all the stuff locked in there, baby, you'll never get it out. Like all these kids that get into these cults, and then they have to put them through all this deep programming, and sometimes it never works. Because once they brainwash them sufficiently, they're like, they're going, like that. And they're drinking Kool-Aid and eating that bad pudding and getting their nuts not only shaved, but chopped off. Oh, speaking of getting nuts shaved, by the way, don't forget Joe Costello. What did I do with that thing? Did I throw it out? I hope not. I sure hope not, because then Defoe will get all upset, even though he's got nothing to do with this one. I think I did throw it out. Well, they're at the Hooters at University in Pines, in Pembroke Pines, starting at 12:30. And I got tickets to it. Oh, here it is. Go see Joe Costello. Show him your feet. Why does this overhead every now and then like this just start taking off on its own? What are you doing? Are you potchking with it or what?
I was right then.
Loud.
But,
it's loud, man.
That's where it always
loud.
is.
Oh, okay. Now it's better because I just turned it down. Anyway, if you're looking for fast, easy, reliable access to the Internet so you can go on there and ask, get on some of those chat rooms and ask them about this very important topic and say, all you geniuses on the Internet here, But if you want to get on there, do like what I've done for the last year and a half, and that is use MindSpring, because MindSpring gets you on there hooked up immediately, if not sooner.
You thought that I was stupid?
In theaters now.
It's the totally new Star Wars. Yoda gets hot on R2-D2.
Wow, R2-D2, you make me feel good. Wow, R2-D2, I was just wondering, you are a female, right? You're a dude? So am I.
Yoda breaks up with R2-D2. Showing now. No robots were injured during the filming of this movie.
Get off of my face!
Showing now in a theater near you.
Okay, here's a article at Somebody Facts Me. Millennium Bug. Christmas 2000 may be closer than we think. It says, forget the Y2K computer meltdown, these restaurant reservations for New Year's Eve of 1999, and the forthcoming church celebrations of the 2000th anniversary of Christ's birth. The great millennial milestone has already happened just a few weeks ago, or it will occur a few weeks from now. So say the calculations of certain specialists in the arcane field of biblical chronology. If they're right, most modern scholars are wrong, and this is verily a Christmas to remember. It gets very complicated, but take heart. The following will be a highly simplified account. To begin, the year AD1 isn't the year AD1. Everyone who looks at the data agrees that, strange as it seems, Jesus was born before Christ, not Anno Domini. The man who split history into BC and AD on the basis of the first Christmas was Dionysius Exogenous, whatever it was. What is it?
That guy, that Roman.
Yeah. Dio. In AD 525. Dionysius the Little, they called him. Good, that's a lot simpler. Great idea, but this Roman monk had two problems. First, he used no zero year. Isn't that what we've been saying all day today?
Uh-huh.
So he figured Jesus was born on December 25th of 1 BC, and New Year's Day of AD A1 came 1 week later. Are you following that?
Say it again.
He figured that Jesus was born December 25th of BC, year 1 BC, and New Year's Day of AD 1 came a week after that. Okay? Second, Dionysius didn't have much documentary evidence to go on. Modern-day historians have put the nativity at around 5 BC. The whole business pivots on when the homicidal King Herod the Great died, because Matthew 2 and Luke 1:5 report that Herod was on the throne when Jesus was born. Because of the consideration from Jesus' own chronology, that was at the very end of Herod's long reign. And it goes on and on. Historians think Herod died in 4 BC, a belief derived partly from details in Jewish antiquities written by the first-century historian Josephus. One important clue in his report that Herod died shortly before the annual Jewish Passover, and therefore shortly after a lunar eclipse, the only one noted in Josephus' massive work. Modern calculations show the whole internet goes on and on about this. But you know something? It doesn't have anything to do with anything. This is all,
Bottom line is, there was no year zero.
Yeah, oh yeah, very clearly. The guy who invented the calendar didn't use the year zero. The first year, and it says right here, AD 1 came a week later after Jesus was born. AD 1. Not AD 0, AD 1. 1, you got it? There you go. There was no effing year zero, you got it? There was no freaking year zero.
Oh, don't tear that up.
It doesn't, who needs it?
Defoe?
Maybe, yeah, Defoe needs it. Good, tear it up some more. 2 hours and 15 minutes later, here we sit, still arguing with a bunch of people, a bunch of basket heads who refuse to accept the fact. There is no number zero in Latin. It doesn't exist. The first zero appears as in units of 10 with X, 10. Got it?
No.
Here's Boca. Hello.
Hi, how you doing, Neil?
Okay, sir.
Hey, the Christians started using a calendar that they decided became what they thought was modern times, the birth of Christ.
Yeah.
And called that point in time year 1 AD, which goes back to the Dionysius guys.
Yeah.
And they claimed that That was the year, and they claimed the year of primitive times was 1 BC. What people do not understand is that had little to do with science, but more towards politics.
Yeah.
Logically, there should have been a year 0, but they felt like it was more like a jump. Like there's no space.
Well, when you say logically there should be a year 0, why?
Well, it's kind of like there's no space and time in between life and death. You're either alive and you're dead.
Yeah.
They felt like logically.
Or maybe you live in South Florida.
Yeah. The people. Yeah, that makes sense. But logically, it would make more sense because it's scientifically it would equal out and it would make more sense. But so basically, they didn't do that. It was more like a jump between primitive times and then modern times, and there's nothing in between. You're either primitive or you're modern. There's nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, you're in South Florida, so I think the answer speaks for itself. Thank you. No, I understand what he's saying. If there's 1 BC, then there would be like a median point would be 0, and then 1 AD. I follow what he's saying, but they didn't do that. You follow at least what he's trying to say? It makes logic to me. But what are you talking logic? You're talking about a bunch of religious nuts. Let's keep the religion out of this, okay? Let's just accept the fact that this guy who invented the modern calendar called the first year 1 AD. AD 1. Period. No 0. There it is. Every piece of information that we got here, from every article, from people, forget about me, forget about George, it's obvious. Are you saying like 1 through 1,000 is 1,000 years? What's wrong with you? Are you saying 1,001 through 2,000 is another 1,000 years? And are you saying that the third 1,000 years won't start until the year 2001? Is that what you're saying? Communist? Son of a bitch? Here's Miramar. Hello.
Neil?
Yes, sir.
It's called The Dumbing of America.
Yes?
And no topic ever have I heard on the Neil Rogers show.
I have never had a response like this.
It's incredible.
It's like doing biorhythms.
The Dumbing of America is being completely laid out for us on your show today.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you for finally setting the record straight on this. And I'm out.
Hey, you're out. Okay, God bless you. Take 2 and call us Monday. He's out, over and out. Let me just say one thing that might straighten this all out for clarify the whole deal. A very young Florida Gator team. I heard one even better than that a couple of days ago. Guy calls up Hank about the NBA playoffs. He says, I just want to say, whoever's got the most horses, that's the team that's going to win. And I thought about, Jesus, God, is that profound? And thank God he didn't use any cliches in there, too. Whoever's got the most horses, that's the team that's going to win. That's like the hockey playoffs. Whoever's going to score the most goals is going to win a game. Oh, this is so sweet. This is the greatest day of my life. I thought that the other day when I had that born-again experience in the tea room with Geldy and changed my whole outlook on this place, and I realized how wonderful everything was, I thought that was only the beginning. That was just the start of my own personal revelations. Here's Hallandale. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
Didn't the Vatican screw around with the calendar in the 1500s, and I think we're on what's called the Gregorian calendar right now?
I'm going to do a chant right now, yes.
Okay, because what was this? The Roman monk, he was...
I think Jeff Gregory had something to do with it.
Okay, that was on the Julian calendar.
Yeah.
Is the Jewish year longer or shorter than the calendar we're on now?
Well, it's not longer or shorter. It's just way ahead. They count. This is like the year, I don't know, 6,000 or something, like 59, something like that.
Okay, because if it was shorter, we'd go on that.
See,
your contract would be over quicker.
The Jewish calendar doesn't separate, BC, because the Jews don't recognize Jesus at all, so they just count from whatever their fairy tale started.
Yeah, from whenever that is.
Right.
This is how Phil is so successful.
Huh?
This is why Phil is so successful.
Yeah.
Take one topic like that and you get...
Are you sure? Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what he could do with this?
Oh, yeah. And plus,
he could have a historian calling in today telling us about the year 00.
Wake him up.
Okay. See you.
Right.
5670560, pound 560 on the mobile one line. Are you positive? I'm entertained, I'll tell you that. We ought to be paying the audience today. I haven't had this much free entertainment in a hell of a long time. Here's a mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hello, Neil?
Yes.
I think I can clear this up for everybody.
Okay, straighten this all out.
To all the
We're
sports
confused.
nerds out there.
Uh-huh.
Do the Marlins start in inning 0? No. They start in inning 1.
Yeah, but the final score usually is the other team something, and the Marlins is usually a 0 in there somewhere.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But the Dolphins and the Heat, do they start in the first quarter or they start in quarter zero?
Quarter zero. Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, thank you. And then, of course, there was Joe Lotto, who wore 00. We had a few athletes who wore zeros, and then we got many athletes who are zeros. Like OJ. He's even got a zero in his name there. I don't think it's OJ, it's 0J. I'm going to start calling that from now on, 0J. Because he is a big... Oh! And those people that hang around with him, too, by the way, including Sam, our promotions man, who's nothing but a little jock-sucking, whatever he is. Rhymes with 567-0560, pound 560 on the mobile one. No wonder he looks so much like Andrew Cunanan in that on that deathbed. You know what? Oh, by the way, the Twin and Joe Costello are out there any minute now. They're probably there already.
No, they just left.
They just left?
Here.
So how the hell are they going to be there at 12:30? See, this is the reason you guys don't get anybody to show up. You keep pushing me to plug this crap, and I do mean crap, and then you go out there and you show up 10, 15 minutes late, and the massive crowds that I draw for you out there, they're all gone already. Think they're going to hang around for the garbage you guys got? Any second now, Joe Costello and the nephew will be pulling up in the QAM van at the Hooters in Pembroke Pines, right on the corner of Pines and University. Joe will have tickets to the American Racing League races next weekend at the Homestead Motorsports Complex, free Shave Your Nuts tickets, and complimentary passes to Golf Expo 99 this weekend in Boca. Anybody want this stuff?
No.
But at least I'm putting it on the air. Kill some good time. It's part of my whole new attitude. Maybe we'll do 3 or 4 of these a day. Here's Oakland Park. Hello.
Hey, I'm a nigga. What's up?
Okay.
Hey, go. Is Joe Rose's head shaped like one of ours or like a big fat zero?
Good point. Excellent. Like a huge... Oh! 567, and the ship has landed, by the way. I think Joe and Leo got off one at a time. Well, they're promoting this new Leo movie. Have you seen that? They were promoting yesterday the new Brad Pitt movie where he's like naked most of the movie, or like a lot of it, and that's just fine, okay? Brad, like anybody with a brain would look at that. And then they got Leo, who's running around looking like Minnie Mouse. Yeah. There's scrawny Leo, bearing it for everyone to see, and they're all saying, oh, gee, put some clothes on, will you please, and get back on the spaceship before it takes off. Sunrise, hello. Sunrise.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
You're absolutely right on the millennium thing.
Yeah.
These people are just idiots.
Have you heard much of this conversation?
I've heard most of it all day long, and I just can't believe it. If these people went to the bank and cashed their checks,
yeah,
and they started from zero, these people would go ballistic. And now they want 0, 1, 2, 3. You know, they're a bunch of idiots. You start from 1. That's where everything starts from. It doesn't start from 0. The AD1. It's 2001 is the new millennium. That's the end of the story.
Yeah.
There's nothing else. I mean,
but you see, this flies in the face of everything they've been led to believe, and they just accepted, they took it for granted for so long, and now they're psychotic about it. They're reacting like a bunch of little children.
Well, that's what the religion will do to you.
There you go.
All right, Neil.
God bless you, sir.
You too.
1225 on your Ballbuster station here as we continue breaking down the iconoclasts of mankind here at QAM, whatever that means. Too big of a word for our crowd, obviously. Although it does have several O's in it.
There ain't nothing more butch than sports talk radio. That's why here at 560 WQAM, in keeping with our macho image, we're proud to present the Brett Summers and Sandy Payton Show, starting this Monday. Join Brett and Sandy as they welcome their guest, Rip Taylor. Not to mention sideline reviews from Greg Lousanis and the Publix Bag Boys. Only on 560 WQAM.
All right. 1230 at 560 WQAM. Here's a payphone in Plantation. Hello.
Hey, Neil, I think I can maybe clear this up in about 30 seconds. I'm a graduate from Case Western Reserve in Ohio.
Yes, sir.
I majored in astronomy and minored in chemistry, so we deal a lot with numbers and, units. And I think what a lot of people are confused on is 0 is a whole number. Because when we measure, you're right about the calendar. When you measure forward, you don't need to worry about 0. But when we want to, for instance, talk about solar eclipses in the future or especially the past, we have to go beyond into the negative numbers like BC 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, we have to make sure we count correctly so we can precisely predict eclipses and everything else. So when we go from when we go from BC 1 to AD 1, that's 2 years. It's not 1 year. You have to count 0. Now, that's not on the calendar, yes, right. And I think that's where everybody's getting confused. So it's the same thing like when we do chemistry, when we count centigrade from -1 to +1. It's 2 units. You have to count 0 because 0 is a whole number in that respect. So I think that's where everybody's getting confused on.
Okay. Thanks.
You bet.
See ya. Okay, here's a couple of faxes I just got as we're finally starting to come back to reality here after all these people just foaming at the mouth. Are you stupid, Neil? And at George, here's one. Ask a NASA scientist. Now, we know how stupid they are, right? Ask a NASA scientist the question, hi, I'm 17 years old. I'd like to know when the new millennium starts. Isn't it January 1st, 2001? Why do people get so excited about 2000 then? How do I explain this to my friends? Please help. The answer. You are right that the millennium starts on January 1st, 2001. There is no year zero, so I feel like I've had a religious experience. Who sent this to me? God bless you. There is no year zero, so the first millennium started on January 1st, 1 CE. CE and BCE, Common Era, and before Common Era are the deity natural terms for what used to be called AD and BC. Deity neutral terms. Let me say it again. The first millennium started on January 1st, 1 CE, the day after December 31st, 1 BCE. The first millennium ended 1,000 years later on the night of December 31st, 1000, morning of January 1st, 1001. And the second millennium ends 1,000 years after that on December 31st, 2000 / January 1st, 2001. Oh! However, the year 2000 is when you'll have to throw away all your old printed checks and get new ones. It's the year that there will be computer failures due to Y2K bugs, making them believe that they've just jumped back a century. When you buy a car, it typically has a few tenths of a mile on its odometer, but you still celebrate when it clicks to all zeros. The main reason people will celebrate the millennium on the night of December 31st, 1999 is to hold big parties.
Well, yeah.
And to hold them a year sooner than they would otherwise. I expect that around February 2000, people will start coming around to the belief that the millennium does indeed start with 2001 and plan their next party accordingly. Oh! David Palmer and Samar Safi Harb from NASA ask a NASA scientist. Not ask a talk show host that you want to rip on the radio or his producer who's a little relentless spick, but ask a NASA scientist. And here's one of our chronic faxers who says, to complete 1 year, you must complete 365 days. At the end of 1 AD, we complete 365 days. To complete 2,000 years, you must complete 730,000 days. At the end of 1999, we will only have completed 729,635 days. At the end of the 2000th year, we will have completed 730,000 days, or 2 millennia, and begin the third millennium on January 1st, 2001. There you go. Oh! There it is. There is no year zero, Virginia. There is no Santa Claus. There is no Tooth Fairy. There's no goblin under your bed. There's no Green Hornet. There's no God. There's no bullcrap, okay? Oh, here, let's save these.
Yeah, the rocket scientist one, please.
Ask a NASA scientist. You know, when I started this morning, I said this isn't rocket science, and lo and behold, 2.5 hours later, we find out that it is. We have to find a NASA scientist to find out that a 1 and a 2 and a 3. Uno, dos, tres. Come on, Ricky, let's go, baby. Oh my God! I feel like I've had my inside scraped out, whatever they call that. You know, I feel like my kishkis have been pulled out. And they're adamant. Here's Miami. Hello.
Hi, Neil.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to ask you a question. At the year 2000, if you subtract 2,000, what year would it be?
If you strike the 1,000.
Subtract.
If you subtract 1,000.
2,000. At the year 2000.
Yeah, if you subtract 1,000. Why do you want to subtract 1,000? What's the point?
I just want to know what year would it be.
It would be 1,000.
At the year 2000, you subtract 2,000.
Okay. 567-0560, pound 560 on the mobile one line. Is this pathetic? Is this tragic? See, he's thrown off now because the NASA scientist has just boxed him into a corner. So now he's starting to do math. Let's do Miami Beach. Hello.
Diggity-oo.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
I'd be good.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about those two idiots out there with the van.
Yeah.
I guess they must have got a great idea.
They're there now, by the way. They're there right now hoping to get laid.
Somebody must have had a great idea for some advertisement for that wonderful station of yours last night. I was down in the Grove. They had that thing parked out in front of Murphy's Pub.
Mm-hmm.
Only thing is nobody paid the meter.
Yeah.
There was a big fat parking ticket.
All right, let's hear it. All right. Great. Maybe it'll come out of Sam's budget.
Yeah, I know. Greg's going to love that one. You mind if I call somebody a douchebag?
Yeah.
Charlie, you're a big, fat, flaming, soap-dropping douchebag.
Okay. 567-0560, pound 560 on the mobile one line. So they're there now. They're over there at Hooters. We just got the call. Joe and the nephew are there, waiting breathlessly for you to come by and get the crap that they're trying to give away. Tickets to the American Racing League races next weekend at the Homestead Motorsports Complex and And if that isn't good enough to draw you out there, plus the Hooters babes, the complimentary passes to Golf Expo 99 this weekend in Boca for those with no life and absolutely nothing else to do.
And by the way, Joe Costello wants everyone to not miss the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Interview.
Tomorrow morning, 6 to 7 o'clock, Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's a lot butcher than some of those racing guys. I don't want to mention anybody named Jeff Gordon. But that's just a rumor. Here's Isla Morada. Hello.
Huh?
Yes, sir?
Are you talking to me?
It sounds like you.
Oh, sorry. It was a horrible screech. I'm on a cell phone.
The phone is marginal. It's right on the border.
At best. I just want to say to all those other people, plan your party now, for 2001.
Mm-hmm.
That other guy stole my fire about 5 calls ago. I was talking to George about it. You've entered the fill zone, man, with these people.
Yeah.
And just a couple of quick comments. 0 is a whole number because it has a hole in it.
Yeah.
And Billy Preston said it best in 1974 when he said, "Nothing from nothing
is nothing." Okay, thank you, sir. God bless you, and get a new phone because it sounds like a big hole in it. Yeah, well, maybe these people like something with a big hole in it. That might be the answer. Because based on what we heard several months ago, they like a big rectum. That's got a hole in it. And I guess that's what they like. 5670560, pound 560 on the mobile one line. I was just thinking about that phrase, whole number. How's he spelling that? I guess it all depends on if it's at the Sawgrass or not, or maybe it's J.C. Penney's. 22 before 1 at 560 WQAM. Don't make...
The sky is falling.
Hello, citizens. This is Batman. You know, even though I'm a fictional character, the Y2K problem is real. In other words, I may be from the comics, but there's nothing funny about Y2K. So, what can you do, John and Jane Citizen? Panic. That's right. If you have the time right now, run out into the streets and scream your head off like a little girl, yelling, "Y2K, why me? Oh, I'm so scared." You know Big Batman's coming to your rescue, do you? Ha! I can tell you now, stock up on canned goods, then withdraw all your cash from the bank and bury it in the backyard. But be careful if you have a canine friend, then sell your computer. It'll be about as useful as the bat signal at noon. You might as well get some money out of it now so you can buy a generator and lots of gasoline. But don't store the gas in empty plastic milk containers or some unsuspecting moron like Robin might suck it down thinking it's iced tea. Then you gotta get his stomach pumped by rushing to the emergency room, and you don't want to do it in costume because people tend to laugh at Batman when he's not on the silver screen fighting crime. And they always tease Robin because his outfit is so gay. But I digress. This is Batman. When it comes to Y2K, don't be a joker.
What do you say, Robin is Y2K? It's 16 before 1 at 560 WQAM, one of the most enlightening sessions of my life here today. This has been the best. I'm exhausted. I feel like I've just run the 3.5-minute mile and lifted with weights on my back. I'm carrying Fat Boy and Josh Friedman behind me. Oh, this has been spectacular and well worth it at 10 times the price. Pembroke Pines, hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Neil.
Yes.
I'm going to confuse this even more.
Go right ahead.
There's a little book out.
Hop right on the pile.
This is it. Speaking of piles.
Yes.
There's a great little book out called Uncle John's Indispensable Guide to the Year 2000 from the Bathroom Readers Press.
Yeah.
That says, and it backs up everything you said, but you want to confuse it more. There was an astronomer named David Hughes, it says, who set out to figure out the exact date of Jesus' birth.
Mm-hmm.
And he went through this and he researched ancient Babylonian and Chinese texts. And he says Christ was born in 7 B.C. because of a rare conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn was the star of Bethlehem.
And Uranus.
Right. So in 1979, it says, another astronomer tested his theory, and sure enough, lo and behold, at this planetarium in Plymouth, England, in the night sky over Bethlehem, this star, this conjunction occurs, meaning that Christ was born September 15th of 7 B.C. And given that we count in the year of our Lord, his theory is, if you want to be astronomically accurate, the real year 2000 would have started on September 22nd, 1992.
Mm-hmm.
So let them all figure that one out.
Okay. We're working on it.
Good.
Thank you.
Bye.
Like I said, when in doubt, run in circles, scream and shout. 567-0560, pound 560 on the mobile one line. So let's see. 0. Oh! Here's Hollywood. Hello. Hollywood. Going once. Long gone. 567-0560, pound 560 on the mobile one line. Here's Kendall. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
Hey, how you doing?
Great.
Listen, I heard something a little earlier that it seemed like some hypocrisy on your part. I'm not here to get on your
I'm
ass.
the world's biggest hypocrite. Just ask Defo. He'll tell you.
Okay, well, you mentioned earlier that some newspaper ran a story with some webpage about sex places that you can go to, and you being the moral standard bearer, you declined to put that webpage on the show.
I never said I was the moral standard bearer. But
I'm embezzling, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, did you not say that you declined to put that?
Yes, I did say. I mentioned that when I read the article. I'm not going to promote it, and I also didn't publicize the ones when we had all that stuff.
You did 6 months ago. You did a whole show on places you could go to find glory holes. I remember calling you. You named places at International Ball.
Sir.
Absolutely.
Sir, will you calm down? I said that I wasn't going to give the name of the website. I didn't say it was already printed in the article.
Well, why not give it? I mean, you gave a
Why are you
different places.
Are you looking for glory holes?
No, I'm not. But I'm just saying, if you did a whole show on it 6 months ago and you told people where to go, then why not give them this webpage? I mean, you may be helping some people out.
Okay, Monday we'll give this stuff out.
And also, one more thing.
Yeah.
About the year 2000.
Yes.
If we were to sit down and open up a history book, we would see that
Hey,
you know, the way.
nervous laugh. I know you're probably in the seminary.
Listen, no,
Probably
I'm not.
training.
I'm not. If we go back and we look at history as a number line,
probably an ex-Marine.
you can find things that happened in every year back to the year 2 BC. In order for us to count, we have to go through year 0, don't we?
What is it?
I could sit down with you in a history book and show you things that happened in a year that we have to call 0. Because if we don't call it 0, what are we going to call it? Because we have to go to 1
What do you mean we're going to call it? Let me say it again. The guy who invented the calendar, the guy who invented the Goyish calendar that we use all over the world today, except for the Orthodox Jews, this guy didn't use the year 0. I mean, if
it doesn't matter. For our accounting purposes, we have to go back to 1 BC,
so
don't
you
we?
want to reinvent the calendar. No, we don't do that. We don't.
Well, this guy, the astronomers said that they have to do that, don't they?
Listen, call up NASA. They'll tell you where their good glory holes are, okay? They got a great website, by the way. It's out of this world. 567-0560. See, there's a good message for all you kids out there. This guy right here. That's what happens to your mind when you hang around too many glory holes. When you start cruising too many of those troll places. Wow. They want to reinvent the wheel, man. Well, we got to call it call it whatever you want. Call it the Blue Moon. Call it Uranus. Call it Doctor. Take 2 and call us in the morning. I don't care what you call it. Call it what you call it. Call it Vestaswas. I don't care what you call it. But the fact is that that's not the way it really works. That's not the way the real world is in the world in which we live. Maybe we don't like it. Maybe we don't agree with it. But that's the way it is, Virginia. Here's Hollywood. Hello.
Hello, Uncle Leo.
Yes, sir.
I haven't spoken to you since you awarded my wife a shower massage, and my life hasn't been the same since.
Okay.
I got the definitive answer for the 2000 thing. It'll make life easy on you. You can get off the Valium. It takes 12 goddamn months to make a year. These people can't get it through their heads.
Yeah.
12 months, 365 days, 52 weeks. When you're born, you're in your first year, but you're not a year old yet.
Yeah.
I mean, what else do they need to know when the new millennium starts? Why is that so hard to figure out?
Okay, thanks. Whatever you said. Did that help at all?
No.
No. 567. Stop with the when you're born, okay? Stop with this business. It's got nothing to do with that anymore. It's got to do with military time. It has absolutely nothing to do with any of this. Let me say, like I said, almost 3 frickin' hours ago. 4 minutes after 10. 1, 2, 3. Uno, dos, tres. Jesus K. Christ. 1 through 1,000 was the first 1,000 years. 1,001 through 2,000 was the second 1,000 years. The second millennium. If you got it, can you count that high? Can you figure it out? And the third millennium begins January 1st, 2001, just like the NASA scientists say, but they must be just as stupid as I am. We're sitting out here just laughing our ass off at what a couple of schmucks you are over there. Yeah, we're dumb, you're smart, okay? Every printed article that we got, every magazine, every scientist, every genius, every schmendrick, every historian.
Roman monk.
Roman monks. Friar Tuck rhymes with suck this. God. Jesus, Joseph and Mary. Jose Maria. What are you laughing about? That's that's your people, man. Jose Maria. Well, they got that. I bet you in Brazil there's a lot of Jose Marias. That ain't necessarily their name, though. What?
Right. Their names would have been in Hebrew.
Oh, God. See, we were going along just fine until you Graham started screwing things up, okay? It wasn't bad enough they started eating trafe, but then they had to mess with the calendar. That really pisses us off.
Damn Dionysius.
Then they stole the goddamn... Then they stole the beanies. Here's Miami. Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
How you doing? Well, let me tell you why 0 is a number and everybody's wrong and I'm right.
Uh-huh.
I'm just kidding, of course.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, I do agree. Listen, if we had to start organizing time, okay, we agree 365 days is a year. Does that mean we wait 365 days until we start organizing time? Absolutely not. It's year 1, day 1.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
And if the world were to end in half of that, it'd be half a year. Okay, let me ask you. When you go to work and
but you got to understand that this fruitcake, that this Roman monk that started designating he could have called it 0. He could have called it anything. He could have called it the year of anything. He could have made up any silly name he wanted, but he happened to call it 1.
Absolutely.
As in the beginning, it was year 1. Oh,
right.
how convenient.
I mean, if you get paid $10 an hour.
Well, it's confusing, but.
Right. Well, I mean, if you get paid $10 an hour and you work 30 minutes, does that mean you don't get paid at all? I mean, come on, man. You know, the thing is do not compare it.
Costello, he'll tell you.
Do not compare it to military time or when you were born. It's separate. It's a separate issue. It's what it is. Period.
What it is.
Absolutely.
That's what I keep asking. What it is.
Absolutely. And I guess the theme to your show today is people who need to feel that they're important and feel that they are basically smarter than everybody else.
And not only that, but they're pissed off about it. You wonder why people are killing each other over a parking space. I mean, if this were the most important thing I had to worry about in my life would be the greatest in the history of the human race.
Well, see, the thing is, Neil, everybody thinks that they have the nugget of wisdom that nobody else has, and that they're so important.
Well, thank God they're smart and I'm dumb.
Thanks.
Have a great day.
I'm taking.
Okay, whatever you were going to say. Like my mother's always saying to me about these things that I couldn't care less. Like she'll come over and take care of the house. We go on vacation. Oh, did you see the lovely planter I put in? Of course not. I don't look at those things. And she'll say to me, you don't even know what's going on in your house. And I always respond to her with the same thing I'm going to tell you. If that's the biggest problem, the biggest thing I had to worry about in my life, it would be heaven. Heaven would be here right now. I'm serious. That's the kind of nudging that I get. Didn't you see the lovely planter I put in? No, I did not.
Behind your back, your dogs are running a numbers outfit.
I wouldn't be surprised. They dropped several numbers in the yard this morning. A couple of big bombs. You don't even know what's going on in your house. 567-0560, pound 560 on the mobile one. I wish I had the Zager and Evans, in the year 2525. I love that song, too. Although I do have Louise. Well, seriously, I was thinking about this morning, so this fit in perfectly. When people are buying Ricky Martin records, what does that tell you? I mean, talk about Latin singers. This town, I'm going to tell you this right now. This town should embrace, of course, he's Mexican, so they're not too crazy about him, or Puerto Rican, or a little bit of each. But they should embrace Luis Miguel like one of their own. They should love him. They should lap him from toe to head. Oh, sorry, Joe, about the feet. From ankles all the way up to the top. He sings the language beautifully. He's got the greatest voice in the history of the human race. Even those of us who don't understand more than 50 words of Espanol love his music. He's great. He's a great performer. He's marvelous. But no, Ricky Martin, hoochie coochie, uno, dos, tres. See, they're big with the numbers. They're big with the numbers. That's all they know from. And only up till 3. They can't, once they get to cuatro, it's like, yeah. And you notice, by the way, how nobody has told us how you say 0 in Latin? And you want to know why? Because there isn't any. Maybe that's why Biggest Dickus didn't come up with the year 0. Because there wasn't any. There was no such thing.
That'd be real hard to chisel, too.
Yeah. Makes a mess. Here's Miami Beach. Hello.
Neil,
yes, sir. Great.
The term BC, in terms of saying it's before Christ or before Caesar, has nothing to do. We all know, well, a lot of the...
Yeah, right. 567-0560, pound 560 on the mobile one line. Like I said, a lot of one-dimensional people out there. Boring, terminal, ponderous, sound all the same. Droning on, 60-cycle tone, like... Yeah, just like that. Anyway, we got Kim Bocamper coming along. He'll have all the numbers from the sports games coming up, because those are the important numbers, okay, as in the big... Oh! He'll be here from 2 to 6. 6 o'clock tonight, we got... who we got? We got Talking Baseball with Donnie B as a big foreplay for the Marlin game. Marlins at Milwaukee. They've never beaten the Brewers. Are they going to do it tonight?
No.
Well, you'll have to tune in to find out. Are you going to tune in?
No.
Are you selling your home or looking to buy one? Let me tell you about Buy Owner, a unique nationally known company that will save you thousands of dollars easily.
It's the 1 to 2 hour.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I could offer only one tip for the future, act strange and people will leave you alone. The rest of my advice has no basis more reliable than my own meandering experience. Put a slinky around your neck and try to walk downstairs backwards head first. Sit naked in a large bowl of Rice Krispies and sing Feelings while the kernels go snap, crackle, and pop. Go up to a ticket booth and try to stick your head through the hole where they say how much. Lick a stranger. Tell them you're from Bosnia and your country. It's a sign of respect. Take lots of pills. One of them might work. Occasionally ask a stranger if they've heard anything from Lewis. Be annoying. During an IRS audit, staple the guy's hand to his desk. Moon a funeral. Play Go Fetch with a seeing-eye dog while he's working. Run naked through a mall yelling, "Killer bees! Killer bees!" Say the word titty without smiling. Try to figure out who said Pauly Shore should star in movies. Don't be surprised if it's the same guy who said John Gacy should work with kids. Ask an old lady if you can carry her groceries, then try to make a run for it. Disappear for great lengths of time. Try to touch your forehead with your tongue. It may not work, but many women will appreciate the effort. At a high school reunion, tell your old English teacher that your dog's still eating your homework. Ask Mark McGuire if he'll take $1 million for one of his balls. Try to find the secret to Carrot Top's success. Understand your conception was an accident, that your parents got wasted and wanted a few more laughs before they passed out. Try not to lose your finger in your nose. Pick up Bob Costas and toss him on the lawn next door. Go on a car trip with Bob Costas and force him to stay in his car seat. Try to dribble Bob Costas. Ask all your friends and family for forgiveness. Knowing you've done some crap that's really pissed them off. Wish no ill will to anyone, unless you don't like them. Then screw them, they're on their own. Realize anyone who says they're completely happy are completely full of crap. Ask a Hell's Angel if he's a woman, or has he always walked like that? Understand that there are bad people in the world, and you may just be one of them. Sniff an old lady. Imagine Gomer Pyle in a gay bar trying to get lucky. Do this without laughing. Find what's left of your innocence. Understand it, embrace it, protect it, and every so often, take it out for a nice nosh. Care enough not to care. Hum while you eat. Act strange, and people will leave you alone.
Okay, thank you. 4 minutes after 1 at 560 WQAM. Speaking of strange people, and this is so typical for this state. Nokomis, Florida. I figured out that interstate R&R means rednecks reproducing. Nokomis, Florida, when Wednesday rolls around, Jesper and Leina Solander plan to be standing in line with much of the rest of the country, waiting to get into Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, the first Star Wars movie in 16 years. But they'll need a babysitter. Somebody has to keep an eye on their 6-month-old son, Anakin. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yes.
Oh, thank God. These Solanders, or is that Salamanders, who live here in Nokomis, named their firstborn after the central figure of the new trilogy of films, Anakin Skywalker. Does he float like Mark Hamill or what?
He is Darth Vader, but not yet.
I told Jesper, you can pick the name if it's a boy, and I'll pick it if it's a girl, says Lena Solander, 21, who works in a video store. We've been so excited ever since we heard there were new Star Wars movies coming out that when Jesper said, let's name him Anakin, I said, yeah, that's perfect. He's our own little Jedi, says Jesper, 21. A computer consultant for Entex, a computer systems integrator, a Star Wars fan who's a computer geek. It says his nursery is a shrine to the universe that George Lucas created. Action figures, posters, stuffed dolls, a Darth Vader phone. They're all in there. All right. So anyway, let's get back to that Mark Hamill accident, okay? As in when he was born. I think that was the year. Oh! He's all right. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Here's our ex-nun.
Hi there.
How are you?
I have the absolute, the real reason why people think the millennium starts in the year 2000.
Yes.
Because they've been brainwashed to think so. Then the Christians will come across when nothing happens on the year 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Mary won't show up and the world won't come to an end. And they'll have one more chance. And they'll say, hey, Neil was right after all.
Right. Yeah, then all of a sudden they'll say, you know something, now that we think about it, Armageddon's a year away.
Exactly.
And then they can start planning for it again and start hoarding all the food and crap again.
There you go.
Uh-huh.
That's it.
Great. See you in Clearwater.
There you go.
Bye.
Bye.
She's on a side of the bank building right now, Virgin Mary. She ain't going to be around for like about a year and a half, I would say. And then she's going to be everywhere. She'll be there on Times Square. In fact, on January 1st, when the big ball drops there in Times Square, Virgin Mary's going to make her appearance there, 2001. Not 2000, but 2001. Virgin Mary will pop up there right next to Dick Clark or some other Dick right there in Times Square. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. This show today has been, like one of the callers said, one of the greatest learning tools in the history of the human race. If you wonder why people are so intractable and so convinced that their cockeyed, cockamamie view of everything that's going on around them is right, I mean, forget about it. Like, I could bring in a rock, a brick, and have a better chance of penetrating it with words than this crowd today. Here's a mobile in Opelika. Hello.
Yes, hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
All right.
Yeah, I have something to say about this time. When time started, there was no zero. It started 1 AD because that's the first year that they're living in. So it's called the first year, 1 AD. If you use zero, that would mean time stands still or time didn't exist. So you have to start with 1.
Yeah.
So when the year 2000 starts, that is the 2000th year that begins. So January 1st, 2000 is really the first month in the 2000th year.
Right.
So it's not the end of the millennium until December 31st, year 2000.
Amen.
That's so simple.
God bless you.
Yeah, any fool could understand that.
Right.
We need to smack some of these people around in South Florida.
We need to go out in the front lawn and choke them a chicken.
Right?
Okay, God bless you, sir.
Hey, thank you, Neil.
Okay, there you go. There's a guy. He knows it. I mean, 567-0560, pound 560 on the. Shame on some of you people out there. Shame on you. Especially the ones, well, we're out here laughing at you because you're so effing stupid. Yeah. That's right. You're the ones that are in the whole world is out of step, and you guys, you're the ones who are in line. Everybody else is out of line. You're in step. You're goose stepping to it. Be that as it may, you can't change human nature. You know, you can't change the fact there's a lot of real bozos out there. They're all going WQAM, go f*** yourself.
God, y'all, that's what we pay for. This ticket cost $8.50. Yeah. We've been waiting for so damn long to see another beginning of all day long. That's why we do not think that it's wrong to wait in line with Darth Vader outfit on. Stop. Whoa. Good God, y'all, that's what this line's for. Yoda and these younger sit again.
I don't want to say we got stubborn people out there. Wait till you hear this fact. Mr. Rogers, just as decades beginning with 1950, 1960, 1970, etc., are considered the 20th century, the methodology applies to the year 2000 as being year one, to which we say, see, they have to continue mixing apples with oranges. Decades are groups of 10 years that begin with the same number, 50 through 59. That's 10 years of the 50s.
Decade's just a 10-year stretch. You could say 1995 to 2005. That's a decade.
No, but they're talking in terms of
80s, 90s.
Common terminology. The 50s, the 70s. Okay, that's the years that began with the year 5 or 7 or whatever decade you're talking about.
Which is also artificial grouping.
Exactly. You can create you can clump together and lump together any groups of years you want and call it whatever you want. It's got nothing to do with the measurement of time. A millennium is 1,000 years. Okay? So the NASA scientists are wrong. Every one of these other articles is wrong. Oh, no, the year 2000 is being one. No, it's not. 2001 is one. Why do you think they call it 2001? That's one. Oh. 567. Oh, 560. Pound 560. Oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven. That's what I want to say right now. I don't know why. It just came to mind. Oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven. I feel like a big gulp right about now. Here's Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to try to put the nail in the coffin. I'm just another schmuck.
Yeah. This is the hottest thing since jalapeno peppers.
This is insane.
Jalapeno peppers.
These people that are calling in with this age thing, talking about, say, I'm 33 years old. Okay, that means I've lived 33 years and I'm in my 34th year. Okay, and they're trying to apply that to a calendar. That is not so. Yes, I am in my 34th year because I am 33 years old. However, when one specifies a date in the, quote, regal term, you would say today is May 14th in the year of our Lord, 1999. We haven't had 1999 years. We are in the year 1999.
Right.
Which means
at the end of December 31st at midnight, we will have completed 1999 years.
Exactly. And
right.
if you want to complete
based on our artificial measurement, this calendar, that's correct.
Bingo. And in order to complete 2,000 years, you have to wait until 2001.
The idea that 3 hours and 17 minutes later, we're still here discussing this should tell you there is no hope for the human race. None.
They're idiots.
Right.
Buttloads now.
God bless you. Wow. Exhausted. I'm serious. I feel like I'm going to go home and take bottles of vitamins. None in particular, just handfuls. Hands full. Because I've had my hands full today all day with this crowd. It is so complicated. Oh, you don't understand. It's Lucifer down there with the red tail and the pitchfork, and God did this and Moses did that. Let me just give you a little piece of advice to all you people out there, especially you aspiring to be anything. Don't ever waste your time trying to change human nature. I came to this town 23 years ago, made a bad mistake, thinking that I was going to go on here and be like some kind of a caped crusader without the cape, without my cape on. And all I could say was, "Oi!" And then after a short time, I realized I was talking to 200-year-old people who all they cared about was the notch and the early bird dinner. Those are the only things they cared about. The notch and the early bird. And how much sweet and low can we steal and silverware before pumpernicks will finally go out of business. And they found out, by the way. And corkies. That was it. And I'm sitting here trying to change human nature? What's the point? I'm just sitting here now with my whole new attitude. I get a big smile on my face. I'm a disciple of Gildy. Yeah, I had a, this guy that called before, it's looking for cruising for tea rooms. I had my own religious experience in the tea room right here at QAM a few days ago. A religious experience in the toilet. What was it? Gildy said, and I said, you know something, goddammit, you got a point. And now I say, yeah. Here's Fort Myers. Hello.
Yeah, Neil, if you
Yes,
think
sir.
it's bad over there, we are like the stepchildren from Miami.
Yeah.
If the dog was peeing, we would be the tree.
Uh-huh.
It is that bad over here.
Or the fire hydrant.
Yeah, the only thing that could make us better
Or my living room carpet.
if you would play our anus.
Play
You
what?
do that? Play with my anus.
Play with Uranus?
The song.
Okay, I'll work on it.
Would you?
Okay.
And then one more thing.
Yes.
When you have a stopwatch.
You like my anus?
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Okay.
If you could play it more than you do, you don't play with it enough.
Okay.
when you have a stopwatch in your hand,
Mm-hmm.
what does it say just before you push the button to say go?
What does that have to do with time?
It says 0.
Yeah, what does that have to do with
It says
measuring?
0 all the way across.
Yeah, and
And,
what does that have to do with what we're talking about?
well, that's not a calendar, though, is it? A calendar is
No, it's
different.
not. No, it's not, and I will not tell Uranus. See, you just talked yourself out of it, man. You just don't know how it works. You want to start bringing in all these extraneous things. Like I said, I was in a great mood right up until that call from the goddamn West Coast when he started bringing in
all of these things
that have nothing to do with what we're talking about. Get out your stopwatch, pal, or if you like, 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. I'm still waiting for somebody to call and tell me what a Roman numeral 0 looks like. I've been all over Rome, all over Italy. I've seen every one of those old buildings has got the year that it was built right there chiseled into the side of the building. I have yet to see anything that even resembles a 0. How do you like that?
Oh!
Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
I'm sorry, I don't know what a Roman 0 looks like.
Right.
And forgive that guy from Fort Myers, he can't help it.
I know.
But Neil, can I ask you? I do have a question. I'm embarrassed to ask it.
Go right ahead. Don't be embarrassed. How can you be embarrassed on a day like this?
Well, it really has nothing to do with time. I don't want to keep beating that dead horse. You know, Washington D.C., District of Columbia, right?
Yes.
What is Columbia? What the hell do we have to do with Columbia? And I know it's not the country because it's spelled differently.
Well, no, that's where the good drugs come in there for free. They have free. They import the good drugs from Colombia.
Well, seriously, what is that?
What is what?
What is Colombia?
ACDC. Colombia is right next to Venezuela. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Can you, I will never leave this building. I don't think I'll make it out the door. I'm going to get on my hands and knees and crawl around in the halls going like that. Okay, now let's see. Here's one that says, completely irrelevant to today's topic, but I'm pissed off and fired up. 2 months ago, I won $100 from Sour 96 by being one of 9 callers upon hearing a designated song. I still haven't received a check, God damn it. You're always complaining about mismanagement within your radio stations, and now I understand why. I guess that's the Greg Reed effing way. Please remind those people down the hall to keep their promises and send prizes immediately, if not sooner. All the best to you and George, signed Mike. Well, good luck, Mike. If you look to the year 0, maybe that's when you get your check from Greg Reed and those liars, those grave robbers down the hall at Sour 96. I like that, though. I'm going to start using that, Sour 96. Excellent job, Mike. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. We're doing the big 0 here today, baby.
Oh!
The big 0, which fits right into this town, where time stands still for all men, women, dogs, and children. Here's a mobile in Boynton Beach. Hello.
Neil, you were killing me today.
Yeah.
You were so right on. I don't understand why nobody can get
Right
it.
on about what? Like 1 and 1 is 2? I mean, I'm you know something, this worked so well today. Monday I'm going to come out at 10 o'clock, say 1 and 1 is 2, and I'm going to have like 4 hours worth of these calls. Oh, no, you're wrong.
No, but you know what's great? It is killing so much good time on
I know,
Friday.
it's great. This is beautiful.
And in an effort to kill some
I want to tell you, this is the hottest response I've had in ages.
No, since the anal sex weeks of talk
Right,
radio.
that's right.
That was probably the hottest since since before this all started.
That was a hot rectum. Right.
Yeah. But in an effort to just kill some more time for you, and you're getting that much closer to getting out of there.
Yes.
The new decade, or the new centuries would begin at like 101, 201,
Right.
and so on.
Right.
So basically, over the last 2,000 years, we've lost 20 years somewhere along the way. So it's really going to be 1980, right?
Right, exactly.
Exactly.
Oh,
so actually,
please,
now you're back
oh
in
my
the
God,
30s.
I mean, Reagan's coming back again? Oh, no, please.
Oh, yeah,
Don't do
and so
that.
are bell bottoms and everything
Oh,
else.
God, no, that was 70s.
No, but you're really in your 30s now, Neil.
Nah, great. All right,
That's
I'm
great.
going to go out and take advantage of it. Thank you. Thanks for the reminder. I feel younger already. No, actually, I feel about 150 after this show today. I feel drained. This has been a really unbelievably draining experience. And I haven't even yet from that great thing from Dunkin' Donuts. That was very good, by the way. Thanks, guys. Why are those guys so nervous? What is this thing about everybody's so scared of Neil? I'm just a very low-key guy. Walk around the hallway in the morning. I come in here. I don't, hang out and stir up a lot of crap. But these people out there, they're like cowering, like I have this tremendous power, like I'm going to come out here and rip them like Sam Ash the other day. Sam Ash. And by the way, just so Boca Brian don't feel so bad, I love my new CD burner.
Oh!
God, that's one of the best investments I ever made. But you know something? There's another example. I'm not talking about the Sam ass people and the fact that particular store, they don't know how to do business from their ass. I'm talking about the fact that the people calling in toward the end of that show, oh, well, only certain discs will work in that thing, and you got to go to Sound Advice. And they bull crap, bull duty, baby. All you got to do, like I said, read the manual. Don't listen to these idiots out there. Read the frickin' manual. I mean, the Philips people that made it, they might have some idea of how it works, maybe. Any CD that's got that logo on it, that recordable, it shows you the picture of the goddamn logo. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. It says you do have to wait till the year 00, though, to get them, but nevertheless. Here's Miami. Hello.
Hi, man. How you doing?
Okay, sir.
Okay, I think the mistake we have is that they count the year by the fraction. And how do you count the fraction? You start from 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. That's what really causes the confusion.
0, 1, 2, 3 is fractions?
That's right. That's how they count it.
Give me a fraction that's got a 0 in it.
Okay. No.
Besides like a tenth. Give me a fraction that just has a plain 0 in it.
No, it starts from the 0.
Yeah, but you said fractions. Tell me one fraction that has a 0 in it.
10 has a 0 on it.
You just got through saying that. You said fraction 0, 1, 2, 3.
That's right. 10
Len Berry. Okay, get out of here. You're screaming again.
Yeah, man.
God, go choke a chicken. Get out of here. Go get on a goat. Go get on Billy. It's goat. 125 at 560 WQAM.
It's Friday, you bastard.
Ad agency people are assholes. All right.
Y2K, Windows die. Oh, and our computers go offline. Y2K, Windows die. Everybody's gonna die. People will panic with murder and havoc. I read that in a magazine. In a comic book store. If you believe it's the end of the world and see the market crashing again, for the millennium, the long time. Oh, you're jumping away.
And when you come right down to the bottom line of this whole discussion that's going on today, this heated, hysterical discussion, you know what the real answer is? Who gives a crap? You know what I'm saying? What the F difference does it make? Who gives a flying about when the hell the next millennium starts? It's just a point. It's just a throwaway point. It's nothing to get all exercised about and psychotic about. Things that people ought to care about. Do they care about them in this town? No. But this, man, this is bigger than goddamn X-Files. Is how big this thing is. Here's Moral Gables. Hello.
Wow, I almost just hung up because you took all the words right out of my mouth there, Neil. I mean, what is the point of this whole conversation? I must have missed it.
I don't know. I think I missed the show today. I think I must have done something early, and it must have been fantastic, but I missed it.
Well, Neil, if a young Florida Gator team wins the national championship,
a very young Florida Gator team.
If they win the national championship this year, is that the last national championship of the 20th century or the first of the 21st century?
It depends on whether they had the horses to do it or not. Have a great life, pal. Yeah, the team that has the horses, they're. Oh yeah, well, what does that mean, huh? Don't throw us all those cliches there, not all you sports nerds. A very young Florida Gator team with that dramatic sound in his voice. Like this was something that really had some significance, some meaning in the history of the human effing race. 567-0560, pound 560. I got news for you. If that Schwartz team loses tonight, I don't want that round ball team. These guys have got to be peeing in their pants praying that they win at least one more game. Because if Schwoball is over in this town for the year, what are they going to be talking about now for the next for months? April 15th, whatever that day is, 17th, whatever the day the NFL draft, that's come and gone. They milked that, they drained it, they squeezed it for every ounce they could get. Nobody here cares about the hockey playoffs, and the people here that work here don't know anything about it anyway. I mean, what are these people going to be talking about? That's their last gasp for the sports nerds. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hey, Neil. How you doing?
Pretty good, sir.
Can I change the topic for a minute?
Please. Oh, please.
You know what? I'm fired up, man.
Yeah.
I'm watching these hockey playoffs. First of all, let me just say I'm a spick, number one, and I'm excited about the hockey.
Right.
Watching that game last night just tingled my toes.
Right.
Watching Sergei Berezin, man, get that rebound and just knock it in.
How do you like that? He hits the first one off the post, and I thought, God
Exactly.
damn it. And before I had a chance to even get depressed about that, he had it in the net.
Exactly, man. You remember a couple of days ago when that caller said, "Oh, well, Matt Sundin, he can't. He's in a little slump and this and that." What does Matt Sundin do the next game? 2 goals. And
He answered the challenge, baby. Matt
Yes,
Sundin
sir.
and Lonnie Bohannes. And, it's interesting to notice that every move, either they're geniuses or lucky this year, but every move that the Leafs have made this year, Mike Smith and Pat Quinn, has turned to goal. They bring that Mayer kid in because Steve Sullivan was injured. He gets his first ever goal the other night.
Exactly.
And they bring Bohannes up from the minors and put him on that line, take Modine off of there. He gets just hot as a pistol. Everything they've done has turned out great.
You know what pissed me off? One night I was listening to JD and the Rim Job on that late night NHL whatever. I don't know what it's called. And I was listening to JD. Well, the Maple Leafs don't have defense to defend against the Pittsburgh Penguins and bada beep bada boo. And I was like, you know what? Mighty Quinn always comes up with somehow or some way he comes
That's
up
right.
with a strategy, man. Either a trap.
Well, how does he think they got through the 82 games? I mean, they got the same defense now they had all season long, and
Exactly.
the difference being that Cujo bails them out, and that's what he's back there for. But again, when you only come up with 14 shots like the Penguins last night, he don't have to do too much.
One thing I got to give credit for, though, the Mighty Quinn, man, he's come up with a strategy. You got to stop Yager once or twice, yes, but he's going to score a goal. I mean, or he's going to have an assist. He's going to have at least 2 points in these playoffs, regardless of how many games there are, Well, Neil,
God bless Pat Quinn.
you got it, man. Hey, listen, and once again, you said it right. You hit it right on the money. Eddie the Beagle, he's doing the choking chicken again.
Exactly. won't see him no more. Okay, pal.
Later.
Go Leafs, go. Hey, we actually had a Spick hockey fan there. Thank God for a little rest, a little delineating moment there in the history of our lives. 5670560. So anyway, that monk, Biggest Dickus, he was the one that got that thing going, the sundial. I wonder if Sundown was there checking out the sundial. I'm serious. I don't even know if I'm going to make it till 2 o'clock. I may just expire here, right flat on the desk before 2. This has been so enervating. Here's a lady in Davie. Hello.
You're a bastard.
Okay, thank you. Nice hearing from you. Here's Boca. Hello.
Hey, Neil. How you doing?
Okay.
First, a couple of things. Hockey
You're
playoffs.
a bastard.
Yeah.
The hockey playoffs are great. There's nothing like them. All these people that are Heat fans, basketball fans, don't know about hockey. They don't know about life. They don't know about nothing. Screw them anyway. Back to your sore subject about the calendar. First of all, I'm a math major, so I know a little about the number system. You're correct. The Romans never had the 0 when they invented the calendar.
Right, because they didn't have the number. It didn't exist. There was no such number.
The first culture to have the 0, the absence of value, were the Mayans.
Yeah.
So the Romans had nothing to do with that. Now, when somebody says what the year is, it's 1999. That's not the complete answer. It's 1999 AD. Well, what does the AD stand for? George knew this. Do you know what the AD stands for? Neil?
I'm reading a fact. Oh, ad domino.
Right. It's Anno Domini, in the year of our Lord.
Yes.
So would it make sense to say, well, of course, and then, of course, people are going to like this, that Jesus Christ is the answer. I know you won't like that. I don't like it either. But
I don't really spend a lot of time worrying about that.
I know, you know what, but
it's just like this whole business with, I can understand the computer business in Y2K. Anybody can understand that's a computer thing. But other than that, what the hell difference does it make, except for the religious nutcases with all their Armageddon bullcrap? What difference does it make tearing the page off the calendar? The sun comes up and the sun goes down and the moon and the cockamoon, and that's it. What difference does it make what we call it?
Absolutely.
It's just an artificial designation that we invented.
I agree with you 100%.
We can call it Purim for crying out loud every guy. We got to Purim 10 times a year.
Hey, if we were all so lucky,
But we'd all be croaking from all that Hamantash.
Yeah, but, it'd be
Too
nice
rich.
anyway. But, I could give a crap either, but, if people want to know, I'll tell them. It doesn't make sense to say in the 0th year of our Lord.
Yeah.
What the hell sense does that make? That's why it's in the 1st year of our Lord, you start at 1. In the 2nd year of our Lord, it's 2. You had a caller about a half an hour ago mention this.
Okay, quit while you're ahead, please.
Okay.
I'm begging you.
All right, Neil, God, you're great. We love you. Never leave.
Life.
Stay here
Have
forever.
a great life. Okay, say goodbye. Okay, 3.5 hours ago I said, So this is shocking. It really is. I mean, I'm usually shocked the other way around. I'll talk about something that I think is really going to be provocative and really get a response, and it's like nothing. And all I did was say, okay, we can put this to rest. I never expected to be talking about this beyond 10 at the first break, 10:10. That was it. There, I had all these things that I wanted to talk about today, and we couldn't even come close to getting off of this thing. They're psychotic about it. Oh no, you're screwing up all our plans.
Is that the first segment or the 0th segment?
The 0 segment. We got some shows on this station. Every segment is a segment. Hey, you know, CityLink Magazine just named Hollywood Seminole Gaming the best place to gamble in town for the 4th year in a row. This is where the action always goes on in an otherwise very deadly place like South Florida.
We're out the moon, man.
Preakness.
Oh!
It's erection time. I'm gonna kick off my shoes, strip off my dress. It makes me wet when I see you get a big erection. That's too big for my mouth. I want it mercenary and on top of you. And take it up my lubricated poop suit.
Rectum.
Give me an erection.
Okay.
And nail me to the wall. ERECTION. I want to drain your balls. I want your love and Wally on me when you shoot your Uzi. And then I'll give it a blow. In the morning it gets as big as this. At least until you take a piss. I want to wrap my lips around your pulsing tube and make your Wonder Worm explode with glue.
Squirt, squirt.
That's some erection. And it's uncircumcised. ERECTION.
Increíble.
I want to drain your balls.
144-560 WQAM. We got Kim Camper for Hank Goldberg. Hank's up in, where is he? In Baltimore for the Preakness tomorrow for a several-day event up there. And then we got 6 o'clock, Donnie B talking baseball. Is there any interest whatsoever?
No.
Well, nevertheless, we're under contract, and plus maybe we'll even pay the broadcast fees this year. You think so?
No.
Marlins at Milwaukee tonight. They've never beaten the Brewers. They got a shot tonight?
No.
Well, tune in. Or not, as the case may be. Maple Leafs and the Penguins in Toronto, Air Canada Center tomorrow night, game number 5. Just mentioned that in passing. And, of course, Buffalo's looking pretty good there against the Bruins. And I'll tell you, Bill Ranford, I don't know what you're thinking about, Scotty Bowman. I don't know what you're thinking about. He sucked in Boston. He sucked in Washington. He sucked even worse in Tampa Bay. And now he's really sucking big time in Detroit. Bill Ranford, a human sieve. Let him right back in there. In fact, I think the Avalanche are going to petition the league, ask to play all the games on the road. Can't win a game at home, on the road, unbeatable. Here's a mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hey, Uncle Neil.
Yes, sir.
How you doing? Can I explain this simply?
Go right ahead.
Okay.
Because I'm
simple.
confused.
It's so simple, it's incredible. All it's trying to say is that you start the year 2000, you go 2001 means that the Earth has passed around the sun one full year, meaning that one full year has passed. When you started something, it's 0. You got nothing. If you go 1, that means you have one. The Earth has gone around the sun one full time. That means it's been one time. Then you go so on. That's the whole experience.
Yeah.
What with me?
What does that? No. What does that have to do with the calendar?
Well, you start the calendar. There's no years. It has to start somewhere, right?
No, the calendar doesn't start with no years. That's the point. The calendar started with the year 1. The monk who invented the whole deal started with the year 1.
He did start with 1, and then somebody screwed up, obviously, or whatever. But they start. Okay, even if they did start with 1,
they did.
The next year 2.
It's not a question of even if they did. They did start with 1. So 1 through 1,000 was the first millennium. That's 1,000 years.
Okay, when you got to 999 years, you go to 1,000, and if you use the last 2 numbers, it's 00. 10 comes after 9, correct?
What does that have to do with what does that mean?
Well, it just means it's the 1,000th year of since time started, or since they started recording time. It's the year 2000 is 2,000 years. That's all it is.
And I understand that. And when we finish the year 2000, that will be the end of the second millennium. Correct. So what's the point?
I guess there is a point. I'm just trying to say, but
yeah.
I'm just trying to say that the Earth has gone around the sun 2,000 times.
Okay, thank you. The Earth has gone around his sun, and don't let your sun go down on him, or something like that. 5670560, pound 560. I see Sal Falcone is back with my Argentinian beef. What's that little symbol on the box, by the way? I don't want to go into that. No, seriously, that's our good friends at Henry Lee. What the hell was the name of that Chinese restaurant in Fort Lauderdale, by the way?
Buffalo mozzarella, too, by the way.
Oh, Buffalo mozzarella. Great. That'll be all gone in no time at all. Oh, look at that beautiful slab of meat. That's a lovely thing. Great. Okay, don't leave that laying around. They'll eat that raw here. Well, we got a lot of people here who eat it raw. Thank you, Sal. You're a hell of a guy. My Argentinian beef with no hormones, none of that crap in it. Because if you're going to eat meat, eat the good stuff. Wait a minute. What'd you do with that? Oh no, I thought you were taking the box out and leaving that thing in here raw. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Yes, sir. I'll be flying out of here. Thanks, Sal. 5670560 pound 560 on the AT&T line. Here's a what am I doing? Here's a mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hi, Neil.
Yes, sir.
I tuned you on about 2.5 hours ago, and I just got back in the car, and I can't believe this is still going on.
This started 4 minutes after 10 when I said something very simple, very easy to understand. I laid it out there. An infant, my little min pin, could have understood it, and now all of a sudden these people are whipped up. They're in a frenzy.
It makes perfect sense what you said. I don't understand why people are having such a hard time understanding it.
Because they got this zero thing. They have that zero Mostel mentality. I don't know what it is, but they're hooked into that zero.
Well, we've been referring to this century as the 20th century. I mean, what does that mean? I mean,
and these people that keep talking about birth and if you are 35 years old, okay, on the last day before you turn 36, that means you will have lived 35 years. Am I correct?
That is correct.
So the same with the calendar. It applies the same thing. At the end of 1,000 years, that means we've completed 1,000 years of recorded time. Not when the 1,000th year starts, but at the end of that 1,000th year. That means the completion of 1,000 years of recorded time. And the same at the end of 2,000 years. Another one at the end of the year 2000, December 31st, 2000 at midnight.
Yes.
So the third millennium, like everybody else with a brain says, starts January 1st, 2001. Anybody knows that. But don't try to tell these people that. They're psychotic about it. They're losing it.
Has there ever been a subject on your show that has eaten up this much time?
No, absolutely not.
No.
Gee. Well, I understand what you're saying, Neil.
Thanks, Al. Thank you, sir. God bless you. There's one guy. We've had about, 4 or 5 people today who understood what we're talking about?
Uh-huh.
And the rest of them are all still out there worked up. Going nuts, going ape shot. It's 10 till 2 at 560 QAM.